Welcome to the Are You Not Entertained podcast. We are your hosts, Infamous and Treese, where we give our unfiltered takes on gaming, movies, tech, and everything entertainment. If we feel it's relevant, we've got an opinion on it. So let's get into it. Are You Not Entertained? And welcome to episode 2 of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Let's get into it. Our today's topics on episode 2, Breaking the Ice. That just happened / Did you catch that? Live service game. Ghost of Yotei / Will it outdo Ghost of Tsushima? Which will be better, James Gunn DC or Zack Snyder's? Is streaming services hurting movie releases? And of course, good old tech talk. Let's go ahead and start as always with Breaking the Ice. The state of ninth generation of gaming. And I'm going to open this up by saying it is abysmal of where we've come from and where we're at now. It is abysmal.
Wait, okay, preference. What exactly is abysmal about this generation?
Okay, let's get down to brass tack. PS3, method, you know what? I want to go back that far. PS4, somewhere around this generation, of that generation, you had landmark titles defined the generation. Things that push the envelope, quote unquote, in a sense. You had the original Ghost, you had more Uncharted, you just had more not only feature complete games, but you saw the jump in the results of the technology from PS3 to PS4, 360 to Xbox Ones. Better graphics, more enemies on screen. We'll get a little bit maybe better loading times. You had games that defy that generation. As far as PS5 and the Series X, a good chunk of games are and were bridge games. They came out on PS4, PS5,
Yeah.
and a lot of the promises that we were giving before the generation, PlayStation and a new SSD and no more loading times. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
you have a few titles that take advantage of that, but on good 8, 9 out of 10 of cases, your average game still takes a minute or two to load. Now, yes, that's on the developer side, optimizing the game better, but even the games, it's only just now do you see devs making a priority of PS5 Series X only games and them showing the quality of the technology. We're 5 years in and they're talking about PS6 and the next Xbox. And it's like, whoa, Kiwasabi. We ain't done. We just begun to eat. And you want to bring out the next meal? No. This is just
So,
my take. This is my take.
just so I understand what you're saying, you're saying that you feel like this generation did not make a big enough jump in.
No. Now, like I said, I will admit the PS5 and Series X, I'll give them on the games that does it. The loading times, like what's it? I think it's God of War, or it's another Sony title that you click continue, you win the game
Mm-hmm.
almost instantaneously. And it's like, all right, cool. You have some Xbox games. Oh, matter of fact, not even Xbox games. I'll give Xbox this. That resume feature. Oh,
Oh my
oh,
God. Chef
that's a
fucking
game changer.
kiss, yo. Like,
That's a game changer. To sit up here
yo.
and be like, you know what? I'm in the middle of this mission, but I want to stop and go back to this race on Forza instantaneously. Now,
Yeah.
yes, at the beginning, like all new tech, it had its hiccups,
Mm-hmm.
little problems, little nicks here and there. But as of now, beautiful. I
And
don't know how. I don't know why no one ever thought this beforehand, but wow. But after that, what can you say is a crowning game or feature of this generation?
well, and just because I could have sworn that PlayStation before it came out said it was gonna do something similar, and it does not do the resume anything. Every time you exit out of the application and go to a different one, it closes out. I could have sworn PlayStation had a promise for that too, or maybe I'm just misremembering.
So I do remember them vaguely saying something about that, and there's two sides to this argument because there is a somewhat
Mm-mm.
on the PlayStation called Switch or Switch something. It's down and to the left. Whatever the previous game you played, you click on that, and I guess it just boots it up a little bit faster.
Yeah, but it's
That
still
but it's
it's
not.
not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the quick resume. But then,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, Xbox was given similar promises like that as well. When you
Mhm.
had Sony's first party games first coming out, and everyone was raving about, the haptic feedback and the little things of the dual sense, the vibrations.
Yeah.
When it's raining, it feels like it's tapping on the controller. You had Xbox saying like, "Hey, we're gonna look into making a controller like that. We're gonna do something like that," and
Listen,
nothing has come of that.
that's just Xbox over promising. They've done that for 2 generations now.
They have,
Over
but
promising and under delivering.
under delivering, absolutely. But
Uh,
when you're as far behind as them, you gotta sell something. You gotta sell something.
I mean,
Now
like
I
I
will give
said,
Xbox one thing.
what?
Their limited edition controllers
Oh,
or the
I mean,
customizable
yeah,
controllers that you can make from Microsoft.com, mwah,
yeah.
beautiful. PlayStation controllers, on the other hand, when they kind of do designs, it kind of feels like you guys slapped some stickers on this. It was like, hey, this is new, and then
Y-
had the audacity to raise the price.
Oh,
Mm.
I haven't bought a controller in a minute, and you already know if something happens to my controller, I do the old switcheroo. So I don't. Mm-mm.
We're going to have a quick sidebar moment, infamous sidebar moment. I am part of the problem. I have quite a few limited edition controllers
Of
sitting right there, nice and
course,
cozy in the
of
box.
of course.
And my cousin will say it's part of my hoarding, which it's not. Do not
You a
listen to her.
hoarder. He
It's
buys
just,
Steam systems, people.
it's just nice. I like nice things.
Yeah,
Side note
no.
over. Anywho, yeah, I'm just not impressed where we're at right now with ninth gen game. I will
It's
admit the SSD is nice. Loading times, fast, speed, etc. It is nice.
but how can you say that when you're looking at a game that load time is shit? Like,
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I was saying from game to game. Matter of fact, I'll be honest with you. If I really had to sit and think about it, it's probably Sony's first party games that really take advantage of that almost instantaneous loading thing.
because
Anything else is just it's just a normal day at the office.
Space Marines load time is ridiculous. Like I cannot stand when, you either defeat or victory at the end and it's going through all the loading screens to bring you back to your little, quick menu,
Uh-huh.
whatever that you want to call that space. And
Mhm.
then it goes into another loading screen because the host quote unquote left the game. We need to decide that before we go through one of these loading screens. Like if that person leaves, you need to already be that need to be one loading screen. Don't bring me back to back load. That infuriates me on Space Marines too. Like don't do that. Don't do that. Cuz the loading screens are
So
not quick and to do them back to back, I'm irritated.
So the Space Marine thing, I hear you, but I think that's more of game design choice because you may not know this. Space Marine 2 is heavily, heavily dependent on connecting to the servers
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's not an online only game. You can't play it offline, but you can only earn the achievements slash trophies for the game if you are connected to their server. Which is why I guess whenever anything is loading, if you ever look at it, the biggest chunk or longest thing it loads will be
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the universe that this game has to adhere to. That seems to be the bulk of making sure everything stays the way it was. I do remember an infamous interview where someone was talking about when they were designing the game that I guess like they were set back a month or two or something because it was like, hey, the way that I guess one of the boots or some design of the armor, they was like, no, that's not a lore accurate. Someone will call that out and there'll be a problem. And they had to go back and make sure they designed it and kept it adhered to the way of the lore. But I do understand what you're getting.
But
I
my
do understand.
thing is too, these are the most powerful consoles. There should be
Mm-hmm.
a certain level this shit gonna load. Okay. I just feel like Space Marine, I feel like I'm playing it on a PS4. How long it takes. This is a PS. I don't give a damn about the whole server thing. It should be quicker. And that's part of the thing I can understand what you're saying about this generation. It's just not a big enough leap. Like
No.
sometimes I could swear I'm playing on a PS4. How certain thing is optimized and how it just feels. And I mean, listen, I'm kind of with you. I feel like it was, and then too, I will give some grace because I feel at that time, life was crazy and it was shortages and supply issues. So I feel like the the bridge between PS4 and PS5 was extended because of the lack of supplies. Like you couldn't get a PS5 for 2+ years. The scalping, the reselling was just so bad. And at
Very
that
rampant.
time, you gotta
Very bad.
remember too that the world was shut down. Like I spent 3 years working from home during that time because we just wasn't going in the office because of the issue that was going on. And so I
Hmm.
just feel
Hmm.
like that all that really did set this generation back when there was time for all this to be leaps and bounds better than the previous generation. I just feel like it was just a lack of workforce and, time, and it really is unfortunate because now all the Nintendos and the PlayStation, the Xbox, they're like, all right, on to the next. And I'm just like, kind of like you, like, I ain't got my money's worth out of this PS5 yet. I just feel like, no, no. Don't talk about Generation 10. Don't disrespect me. Don't play in my face like that.
So there's 2 points that I want to bring up and make with
Mhm.
what you were saying. As far as, when the world was shut down, the C word and etc. Before the ninth generation began, the former CEO of PlayStation was doing an interview and he was giving this bloster talk about, PlayStation, we're about generations, this whole thing. And it was setting up to be this grand unveil. And then the world shut down. And,
Mhm.
I understand, they had to make some drastic last minute changes. Like you said, the shift of people coming into the office working and transitioning to working from home was something I don't think no company was prepared to deal with.
Oh
But
yeah.
there's another drawback on why this, at least on Sony's side, why this generation seems so lackluster was their huge push slash initiative into the live service thing. Now I won't dig deep into that because we got more of that later on in the show. But that's another thing that kind of held down. They wasted a lot of time, a lot of effort into pushing into an initiative that they are now slowly rolling back and backing out of, where you've wasted that time of your studios working on stuff that nothing has come to fruition, and now you're trying to backpedal to go back to your bread and butter. That's one
Mhm.
issue. Then two, former, I can't remember if he was a CEO or he was a very high end exec of PlayStation, Sean Layton. He's done several interviews and he has said something that I don't think the game industry is hearing loud enough. We have plateaued as far as it comes to gaming and graphics. Graphics will
Hmm.
not get any sexier than what they are now. And to push harder, it is hurting gameplay, creativity, and optimization. I have never bought a game because I can see the peach fuzz on a character's face. I have not bought a game because the water physics seem so realistic that their hair moves in the wind as it should in real life. Pushing for that type of stuff, yes, that's nice, but it takes away from other aspects of the game. And I agree with him that we have plateaued as far as graphics. Some may
So
argue, oh, well, that's not true, etc. But yes, it is.
So wait, let me get. So his point is there's a plateau because graphics cannot get any better than what they are, or because people prioritize graphics over creativity.
So he was saying that we have hit the plateau of graphic, and that because people keep pushing to try to make graphics whatever more than what they are, you lose hindsight of other aspects of the game, and like optimization, for instance. I'm trying to think of something of a good example. Well, we'll go with Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 launched not broken or in a bad state as most games, but when you would hit the pause button to bring up the menu, the game would stutter for maybe 3 to 5 seconds.
Wait,
And
hold on. How you struggle when you hitting pause?
yes,
What are we
yes,
doing?
that's a real thing. And the more inventory you had on you, the more that stutter will
Yeah, I
go
remember
about.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's bad optimization in a sense. And like I said, me personally, I have no problem with PS4 graphics. I have no problem with certain PS5 graphics, depending on the game. You do not need to design the game and you put so much focus on, like I said before, with ray tracing, how the light hits their hair and it shines and shimmers. That doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a firefight and you're trying to keep from dying. You don't care about that. I mean, I speak for myself. Like I said, I've never bought a game because of I can see the detail of the freckles on a character's face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, like I said, when it comes to me playing games, my priority is, am I having fun? Now, I
Absolutely.
will say this: I'm a little bit more bourgeois than you are when it comes to the look of a game. Like, I mean,
Yes, you are.
PS4 games are very tolerable. Like, there's nothing wrong with PS4 games. I'm just not going back GTA 3 where his hand was a blob.
Blasphemy.
Red Dead 1, I'm not going
Blasphemy.
back to Red Dead 1. I'm sorry.
Blasphemy.
It's just too rough, baby. It's a little too vintage for me, okay?
We got to
But
do
that's just
another
me.
quick infamous sidebar. Another quick infamous sidebar.
Boy, you live
You're
on the
part of the problem,
sideboard.
okay? You're part of the problem saying stuff like that, okay?
Okay,
There's
but
nothing
I just
wrong
said,
with
listen,
a
I
good
just
game.
said PS4 games are fine. I'm saying PS3, 360. It's just hard. Like, I'm not playing Saints Row 1. I'll play Saints Row 2.
Oh,
Like, that's just, I just have certain, I don't know, standard when it comes to what I'm about to look at. It does need to
a certain
be,
sense of bourgeois.
listen, I'm just saying it's just certain old games just look ugly on today's TV, and I'm sorry. Like, I,
No, you are absolutely right. A lot every game does not age well, you know. Like I was playing my original Xbox. I was playing a first person shooter called Area 51 and
oh my
as
god,
much
that's
as I
so
was
old.
enjoying the gameplay, I was like, yo, this shit looks old. It's like eye cancer. Damn.
Oh my god.
And I couldn't figure out if like, yo, did the game look this ugly originally and we just didn't know better? Or
Oh
does it
yeah, we
look
didn't
this
have no
ugly because it's
standards.
old? Well that yeah, but or does it look this old because it's old hardware on this new sexy ass TV?
Oh yeah, I think it's a mix of both.
But I don't have a problem with going back and playing older games. I was
Yeah, oh,
playing
yeah,
my
because
GameCube
you
last week.
play PS Vitas and PSP games. Like, yeah,
Damn, sound like
he,
a hater.
he's for the streets. He'll take anything.
You sound like a hater. I hear the tone, the
Listen.
discontent in your
I just
voice
know you're
when you
willing
say
to
PS
take
Vita.
anything that is given to you. That's all. That's
That's
all.
not true.
That's
That's not
all.
true.
Okay,
Because I
listen.
don't take EA shit. I'm
Okay,
slowly
so
trickling down
don't act
on
like you didn't play
Ubisoft
that
shit.
Mass Effect game, the latest one, the
I gave it
the
20
one
hours and I
where
never went back.
infamous my face is
My
hurting.
face is hurting. Oh yeah, yeah. I gave it 20 hours and I was like, we never went back to it.
Yeah, yeah, we got to
But
talk about the Mass Effect IP one
Mass
day.
Effect Massacre. We'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah,
that. But
actually, that can just be a weekly rant about EA.
that could be. Like we'll add that to the topic at hand. But
Uh,
that's how I feel of current ninth gen gaming. It in itself is a disappointment. Like I said, we are just now starting to get real PS5 Series X games from the ground up. No longer bound to the constraints of the PS4, which is not to say the
mm-hmm.
PS4 is bad. It's not to say PS4 bad, but I understand why certain devs do it because you have more
Yeah, you have to
people
drop
on
them.
Xbox Ones and PS4s than these new systems, and God
Yeah, but
bless them
you
because
gotta
you
leave
have not
them.
shown them a reason to go out and spend $500 to $600 now on a system that keeps raising in price, but the games keep being mediocre and broken.
But you gotta leave that old system behind at some point. Cause there is no growth.
You do.
That's why it gets stifled. Like, you can't grow if you're still holding on to the old hardware. Like, ugh.
But then what? But then on the same point, it's like a double-edged sword. There's no growth until you move on. But then why move on when you're getting lackluster product? They want you to pay more and give you less.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just a vicious cycle of just
It is a
toxicity.
vicious cycle. And I don't mean to keep tooting this game's horn, but damn it, we're going to keep doing it because it stands out among the rest. Space Marine 2 is feature complete. And not only do they keep adding to it for, let me say the people in the back, free 99, but the game worked and works.
Yeah, even with all its flaws and things that irritate me, it's got a few things that it irritates me about the gameplay. But as far as being a just 10 out of 10, baby,
Absolutely.
there is no other complete game that's topping this year for me so far, just for me.
So far. And I
Yeah.
100% can agree. I could give two or three examples, but I have not dug deep into them in a sense. Pause phrasing. Gaming is not what it used to be.
Oh,
As I
I
made
say that all the time. We
oh
grew
yeah.
up in the greatest gaming era ever. Like, listen, you already know how I feel about that.
Oh
Like
yes, that's why you have
a good game back
go ahead.
then, a good game used to come out every month. Yeah, I used to have to decide and really bunker down on which one was going to get my parents 49.99. It was overload. Like every other month there was a good game and it's just like, oh, I can't play them all. But now like I can go 4 months without buying a game. And that should just tell you something. Yeah, somebody's probably in the comments gonna go, oh, games are more expensive than they've ever been, and it's a lot more manpower and blah 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 blah. I don't give a damn. Okay.
All right, hold on. I gotta say something to that. I have a quick rant because I hate technology. The tech industry is one of the fastest evolving, fastest growing. What was expensive or hard to make 10 years ago is now made with ease. And you say, oh, well, the rising cost of gaming. The reason games cost so much to make is because they make stupid choices in it with the expenses and the budget. There's no way in hell you can tell me with the way technology is now, if you were to go and make a San Andreas esque like game, oh, it's just so expensive. How? When there's better technology now than it was then. Where are you putting the budget?
Let me ask. I'm gonna bring up a game, and it's gonna be a cheat code, but I'm gonna bring it up
Okay.
anyway because I don't want you to go too far into this. They say GTA 6 is $1 billion game. And
You
I
want
preference that's a cheat code game, but any other game
okay.
cannot have that. But like I said in the last episode, we know what GTA, we know what Rockstar do with GTA. They push graphics to the fucking limit. That I mean, when I looked at the trailer for GTA, I was like, God damn, that shit look like a real video, like in real life almost. Like I had to do a double take. But yeah, I just wanted to burst your bubble with just that. But continue.
So I can before I continue what I'm saying, I can address that. The official budget for GTA 6 has not been revealed. People estimate and assume it will be or cost $1 billion to make because everyone is under the assumption of one that since 5 came out in 13 that they've been working on 6 since 13. That's not true. They have came out and stated when they went into pre-production and when they went into full production. So this entire 12 years they have not been working on GTA
Oh well,
6.
yeah, like they made Red Dead
Yeah,
between that time,
yes,
and
yeah.
yeah.
After GTA 5 came out, they went to work on Red Dead, and I don't know what people keep getting this mixed up. Like, oh, they've been working this 12 years. That's not true. The budget you made me think of this when you brought up GTA 6. The budget of a game is heavily determined where the game is made. A lot of games or game studios that reside on the West Coast, i.e., California, etc., the cost of living is highly expensive there. So that means you have to pay those people a hell of a lot of money. So if you, let's just say you got 3,000 people working on a game and they live in a very super expensive ass area, maybe a good couple dozen $1 million went to paying that staff. Rockstar nor Take Two has yet to come out and say GTA 6 was over $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the game comes out, let's wait and see because they do disclose how much it took
Yeah,
them to make
uh,
GTA 5,
yeah,
how much it took to make Red Dead 2. They do say that, but people just keep throwing that astronomical number because of how long they've been working on it. And then, of course, too, when the time comes, and the time will come, when the marketing machine for GTA riles up, even though you don't need to market GTA sells on its own, but when they do push that marketing beast, it will be everywhere. And marketing does cost.
yeah.
But I do know why people keep pushing this $1 billion theme. I guess because it makes it sound cool, or it makes it sound like, oh, because they spent more money on it, that makes it a better game. That's not true. That's not true because I can give an example right now. Concord was accordingly $400 to $500 million, and that game died in less than 2 weeks. The price does not mean nothing. The juice is not always worth the squeeze, people. I want you to hear me. The juice is not always worth the squeeze. I want to give a quick
Yeah.
example. Jordan Peele, when he started making movies, another side note, real quick, his first movie, Get Out, that everyone told him would fail, he spent $5 million on that movie. It made almost, I think, over 100 million or 200 on $5 million. Let that sink. All right, I'm done. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. That cap about like, oh, the cost of making a game, blah blah. I don't give a damn. The price of games they're comfortable charging you 80, 90, $100. So I don't care how much it costs you, because at the end of the day, you still coming out positive on the other end, because you gonna charge me for whatever quote unquote cost or whatever. Okay, like let's not act like this is not a business and they're not making their money back nines out of 10 times.
Absolutely.
And like you said, they went down that live service route, and I think it really bit them in the ass. And they're trying to recover. They're trying to bounce back. They're trying to go back to what made games great. I'm gonna just get into the gen comparisons from Generation 9 to Generations 8 sales, because it was quite interesting. Because I never really thought to look it up. This is all Gen 8 considered. This is what is considered Gen 8. The PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Wii U. Horrible system. I'd actually had one, but horrible. So the Wii U, of course,
God
was the
bless you.
least selling system. It had 13.5 million hardware units sold. This is worldwide, by the way. Xbox One
Mhm.
had right under 58 million units sold. And
Estimate.
PlayStation 4, of course, was the number one selling Gen 8 system with 117.2 million units sold globally. This is global numbers. So that's Gen 8. Now remember, I said 117, 58, and 13.5.
13.5.
All right, so Gen 9. Sony has, as of June 30th, 2025, they've only sold 80 million PS5 units.
Yep.
Now, like I said, there was a lot of stuff going on when the Gen 9 originally released, but I just find that interesting. Yeah, they still 20 units behind, and they're already talking about the next generation, Generation 10. And it's just like, in the Xbox Series X and S, reportedly, this is an estimate, so 30 to
Estimate.
37 million units.
Yep.
And Switch One is actually the number one selling console in the ninth gen with 154 million units. So the breakdown of that is the original Switch sold 97 million units. Switch Lite sold 26 million units. And the Switch OLED sold
Sex.
a little under 31 million units.
That's
So
impressive.
yeah, so I was actually interested. I didn't even realize that the Switch One was the number one selling console of the ninth gen, but it makes sense. Like it's a handheld. It was the cheapest system in the
Hmm.
generation, and I
Hmm.
just think that I just feel like the Switch One was out for a very fucking long time
It
compared
was.
to the rest of the systems in the generation. Like I feel like Switch had like a 3 year jump. I might be not remembering correctly, but it has. I feel like it had like a big jump before the PS 5 and the Xbox X and S came out.
So
Trying to
I'm
remember.
trying to see. I'm trying to remember. The Switch One came out in March of 2017. The PS4 and Xbox One was still going on.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
But see, my main hiccup right now, before I break all the data down you gave, is Nintendo. The in it themselves, it's hard to quantify where they are generational wise, because when the Wii U came out, Nintendo's marketing was how much more powerful and just beefier specs than it was of PS3 and 360. It wasn't touting or saying anything about PS4, etc. And from what I can remember, I could be wrong. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me. People are finicky like that. But if I remember correctly, I believe the Switch. I'm sorry, not Switch. Nintendo is always a generation behind. So
Yeah,
while you count,
yeah. That's why I
so while
said
you're counting the Switch One with PS5 and etc., I would say Switch One is with PS4 and Xbox One, and now
yeah.
Switch
And I
is
thought
PS.
that too when I looked up the all these figures, but that's why I preferenced and said this is what is considered the eighth generation consoles.
Oh, okay, okay.
When you look up eighth generations consoles, Wii U is gonna pop up, not the Switch, and that's why I said
Hmm.
that at the beginning. And that's why I was surprised. I'm like, oh well, then that makes sense why the Switch would be the number one selling console in the ninth generation, because was. Mofo, the Switch 1 came out March 3rd, 2017. The
Yeah,
PS5
and
didn't
that
come
and that
out
makes no
till
sense
yeah, the
till
PS5 didn't
2020.
come out till
So
no at the end, November 12th, 2020. So like yeah,
yeah. Those math numbers ain't mathing. But okay, if that's how they want to consider, that's all to me. But I can give you opinion and hard fact on why all of that is the way it is, from their numbers, the success, the failures. I can break down all of that. So the PS4 did so well from PS3 is because Sony took a look in the mirror. And as I've stated before, the PS3, a great system it was a highly over engineered. A lot of shit it did, your average person wasn't buying a system to do. They took it back to the basics and just made a straight game. But not only just that, the blunder of the Xbox One and its TV
oh
shit
god.
really helped solidify PlayStation to
It
come in and be like, hey, we're all about games, baby. Hey, you want to share games? Here you go. That infamous video still rings till today. And a lot of people say the reason that the Xbox brand is struggling is still from all the goodwill they
mhm.
had 60, they blew it at that. And now you have some people who say that the Xbox One was just a little too ahead of its time with that, because you look at current gen gaming now, a lot of shit is always online, connectivity, etc. But Microsoft being Microsoft, they tried to force it rather than just let it happen, and gamers slash consumer rebelled.
Listen.
The Wii
Listen.
U was go ahead.
No, I'm just like, I don't, that is not a valid excuse anymore for a system, a console failing to sell. Oh, it was ahead of its time. Well, motherfucker, it's your responsibility to look at the landscape of the economy, because when the PS3 released, the economy, at least in the US, wasn't the best. Okay. We was coming out of some stuff, and the average household could not afford a $600 system and then add games on top of that. So I don't want
Not
to
to mention,
hear
it was
it
right
was
before
ahead
the
of its
recession
time.
in 2008.
I don't that is not a valid reason it was ahead of its time. No, if this is your how you feed the people that work for you, you pay your bills as a company, it is your responsibility to look in the mirror and look at the landscape across the globe and see, hey, where are we at? Like, this is why they do the pre-production of consoles, and they do the focus groups, and they get all the feedback. No, I believe, and why Xbox still hasn't recovered, they didn't want to face facts. And where Sony, after the PlayStation 3, they was like, hey, bro, we're not taking a back to back L. So whatever we did that
No,
first time, it ain't about to fly
we're
this
not doing
time.
that again.
And Xbox hasn't done that still. And we in 2025 and they talking about the next gen. I'm like, I'm not buying another Xbox. You give me no reason to buy one. If you're not about games and all you want to do is sell me a little Xbox pass, then hey, you giving me the finger, I'm giving you the finger back, because I'm not buying it. Like, so
So I can attribute that to what I like to call, forgive my language, big dick syndrome.
yeah,
The
yeah.
PS2, the PS2 was king. Sony was riding high like, yo, people are buying the game. We're making money. We are the king of gaming. We showed Nintendo. They tried to screw us. We're screwing them. We're shutting everybody down. And they rode in the PS3 thinking like, hey, y'all gonna buy this because we made it. And
Mm-hmm.
they learned the hard way. The same way as Nintendo did with the Wii to the Wii U. Oh, the Wii sold 100 million plus. We back on top. We got the casuals. And man, we don't need to market this. They gonna buy it. You know why? Say it for me in the back. Cause it's Nintendo. And they learned the hard way as well. But I'll say this. Nintendo and Sony, like you said, they said, hey, we ain't taking back-to-back L, even though Nintendo has. But they looked at their market and they realized, hey, the last couple generations, our home console just ain't been hitting like that. But you know what always hits? Our handhelds are always numero uno. The
Mm-hmm. Oh
DS,
yeah.
the Game Boy Advance.
The
We
SP.
always hitting it, baby. So why not just make a handheld that you can play like a console? And then there came this. I agree with you. Microsoft did not want to face facts. They looked at it as like, yo, we're Microsoft. No, 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 no. You are Xbox, baby. That's what you are. And rather than admit defeat, they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna do our own thing. And they just keep trying to do their own thing. I I firm believe anyone who is more than willing, who wants to debate, argue this subject, I'm more than willing to do it. But I'm going to say this and get my piece. Microsoft believes that their big dick money can sway the industry how they want, and they've been trying to do that for a while, and it has not been working. It has in some areas, but not to their liking, because not only was the Xbox One not doing great, the Xbox Series, and they just keep like, we're just gonna keep putting money into this. We're gonna push them to do what we want. Like they always kept saying, we would love to put a Game Pass on Nintendo and PlayStation. That will not happen. That's not gonna happen. Xbox can swallow a lot of phrasing, a lot of cost, because their parent company is $1 trillion entity. The cost that Xbox can swallow, Nintendo can't. Phrasing, PlayStation.
They
And
won't.
you will not use your money to force the industry's hand. I'm gonna tell you a quick story real quick. Since we're talking about generations in gaming. No one will remember this, but you can go look this up. PlayStation was trying to push for crossplay in the
Oh God,
maybe
yes, I
maybe
remember.
the maybe the middle to Wii ends of the PS3 and 360, and it was Microsoft that said no because they were
Yeah,
riding on top, and they were like, "We don't
yeah,
need you, etc." You
yeah.
fast
They had
forward to
big
a
dick
whole new
energy at the
generation.
time.
Oh yeah, but then you fast forward to PS4, and this is why I've always said
Now
people
they got
have very
shrimp
short
dick
memory.
energy.
Yeah, people have very short memory because then everyone was upset that PlayStation had this Call of Duty deal that they got the maps first. And
Oh
Xbox
yeah.
wants everyone to play together, but Sony won't allow it. And I was sitting there looking like, first of all, where were all you all complaining when the Call of Duty games came to Xbox? And no one said anything when PC would complain. No one said anything when PlayStation complained. Now the pendulum has shifted, and well, that's anti-consumer. That's not fair. But you all didn't have that to say when Xbox was doing it, and now here comes Xbox. Oh, play anywhere. Everyone should play together. And PlayStation's like, my guy. I came to your house and trying to share some cookies, and you said hell no. So
Keep
why
that
would
same
I want
energy.
my people to play with your people? At the time, I'm gonna admit to this, and I used to be part of the problem. Xbox Live people are toxic.
Oh wait, they are. I haven't been.
I don't know how they are today. I don't play multiplayer games like that anymore. But I know the days of early Gears of War, Call of Duty
Oh
World at War, Modern
yeah,
Warfare. I got called
yeah,
the N word a lot just from talk. They didn't even
yeah.
know my ethnicity, but there's like, just N word, F word, J word, destroying out so much stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, it was funny. I partook in it. Like I said, I was part of the problem. Your PlayStation audience is nowhere near like that. Maybe back then they probably weren't. Today, PlayStation is the head and the lead market share of console gaming, so it probably could have shifted. But back then, Sony was like, "Hey, let's work together," and Microsoft said no. That's why when everyone tries to be like, "Oh, Microsoft are the best place to go for gaming because they backwards compatible and they do this," every goodwill Xbox does is because they're losing. It's because they're quote unquote
Yeah, it's
in
not
third place.
genuine.
It's not genuine. It is only done to save face and to say, well, we do this and the competitor does it. Because, Lord, trust me, if the Xbox One was doing numbers like the PS4,
Ooh.
they would have not took away the party chat feature from Xbox Live Gold. They would not have took away you need gold in order to access your Netflix membership. They would not have made all these quote unquote consumer friendly choices had they been winning. Because when you're at the top, you make the rule. And that sounds negative, but that's capitalism, baby. That's America. That's how we roll. People just have short memory. There are a lot of things between generations that people do not remember, people do not talk about, which is why this podcast exists, because we, the consumers, we remember. We remember when others don't. And I remember plain as day when that crossplay shit was being talked about, because I was like, crossplay? What the hell is that? And I was like, yo, I don't want to play with no Xbox person. I play on PlayStation, not get called the N word. Now I can get called an N word from an Xbox person playing with me. No, but now, I mean, I enjoy crossplay. It allows me to play Helldivers with whoever and whatnot.
Yeah.
So crossplay, it has come and it has been a addition to the industry. And let's just be honest, competition breeds innovation. And right now,
Oh
there's a
yeah.
huge lack of competition because Microsoft just does not care. Microsoft's like, yo, Xbox, we let you all have access to our big dick money, and you spent a lot of money on a lot of new shiny toys. We need to see results. I firmly believe if Xbox did not buy Activision, this whole third party Xbox games any and everywhere thing, this wouldn't be going down the way that it was. Because originally, you can look this up, listeners, because like I said, I remember now, listen, it was stated that when Microsoft realized that PlayStation was talking to Bethesda and was going to make a year-long exclusive deal for Starfield to be on PS5 before it goes anywhere else, that is what made Xbox swoop in and buy Bethesda to keep Starfield and Bethesda games off of PlayStation. Fast forward now, Starfield is going to be coming to PlayStation next year, and all of Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. Do you see how quickly the winds change? The tides have shifted because Big Daddy Microsoft was like, hey, I lent you my credit card and you bought a lot of shenanigans. I need to see some type of ROI on all these purchases. I mean, Bethesda was one thing. That was 7.5 billion. You know, that's
Jeez.
like an afternoon for Microsoft. That's nothing. 70 for Activision. Overpaid the market price. And then the feds had to get involved. And it brought so much scrutiny to Microsoft as a whole. You had no choice but to not make any of it exclusive. It has to go everywhere. To not just for the deal to go through, but to actually make money. Hell, the CEO of Activision, Bobby Kotick, said to put Call of Duty in the Game Pass, it's asinine. And what do? Everything goes to Game Pass. This generation ain't what generations used. This generation, it ain't PS4, it ain't 360, it ain't GameCube. Those were generations that had games, moments, and features that innovated and made you say, hey, when you think of PS2, what comes to your mind? You'll think, hey, DualShock, you'll think Final Fantasy, Grand Theft Auto. You can name certain things that came to mind when someone speaks of a certain generation. You bring up PS5 and the series systems, and the first thing that comes to me is high prices, lackluster releases, and a lot of what do they call it? It's a certain term they have when a game launches for PS4 and PS cross generational game. There's been a lot of them. Like I was shocked when they said God of War Ragnarok is gonna come out on PS4 and 5. I was like, whoa, what? And here we are, the year 2025. There are still PS4 games. That's all I got. Anything else, Trees?
Yeah, I just want to go quick memory lane of when the PS4 and the Xbox had came out. I remember watching E3 and they announced the new Xbox. Now, preferences, I was a 360 heavy user. I didn't have a PS3. I went from GameCube to an Xbox 360. And let's keep in mind how much, okay, so let's rewind. The first Xbox came out. It had its problems, its issues, whatever. 360 came out, just shot off like a freaking rocket. And it built
Mm-hmm.
up such a goodwill. And it was so it couldn't do no wrong. Let's keep in mind that the red ring of death was a major issue. And Xbox just said, hey, send it in, we'll replace it. I can't even think of the number they lost in that whole red ring of death, but they still came out on top. They were still the number one selling console for that generation. For them to survive such a, could you imagine PS5s having a red ring of death scandal? It would not survive. I don't think any console in today's era can
No.
survive a red ring of death. That's how much goodwill Xbox had in the community, because I had the red ring of death in my black
So did I.
360 and sent it in. It came back pretty quickly, and it was like it never happened, and I never had that issue again. So like I said, I don't think any system could survive that, and is a testament to how much goodwill Xbox had. And I watched that E3 and I listened to that man tell us as consumers what we're going to do going forward, always online. And
Mm-hmm.
then
He also said if you couldn't afford or had
oh
good internet for the next Xbox, you should just stick with the
yes,
360.
mind you, this is not the pioneer of internet days. Like I remember, like my granny didn't have internet. Like Wi-Fi was still like And then I was overseas in the military, so I did go extended amounts of period without. So that was a big slap you and fuck you to me personally at the time. And then the whole little connect thing, forcing everybody everybody to have it. It was a big A. We don't give a damn how you feel. We did the focus groups. We don't give a fuck about the feedback. Take it or leave it. And motherfuckers left it. And since then, since that E3, Xbox has never admitted on a, I guess, on a certain type of level, like, hey, we fucked up, and for that fuck up, we're gonna give this back to the community. We're going to. I feel like if it was me after that whole little finasco of that era, I would have been like, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it back. We're gonna take it back, Barney style, 360 days. What made us great? Our exclusive amount of content on our system. So everybody that's in the freaking studios that we have need to start giving me some ideas, baby, because we need more exclusive content that is just on our system. That's what made the 360 so great, because it was a lot of stuff. If you had a PlayStation, you couldn't play because you needed that Xbox. And I just don't think they ever, like, I just felt like they held on to that little whatever fuck they was trying to do for years and years and years and years, and it bled over into the next generation, and they just still haven't recovered. They still, the whole Game Pass, don't get me started on that bullshit. Like, and I'm at the point where I'm not buying two consoles, because if I can play all the games I want to play on one, why would I buy the other? No, baby. And like I said, I did eventually get the Xbox X. Like I said in the last episode, it's decoration. It collects dust. It's just sitting on.
Paperweight.
Yeah, I just happened to get one at a time where I got it way below market value, and I was just like, hey, and yeah, I haven't, like, there is nothing that I can't play on my PlayStation that will force me to get an Xbox. At least I haven't ran into nothing so far. I just, like I said in the last episode, I don't know the direction. I don't understand the direction. And as long as Microsoft is still not becoming humbled and being humble and facing the facts, like, bruh, we're in the video game industry. So that means we need to make video game. We need to give somebody a reason to spend $500 plus on our console. Like that pass ain't doing it. And I'm just waiting for that bubble to burst. Like, they did all these acquisitions. It's still on PlayStation. And even if it's not, it's a little delay. Like you said, Starfield eventually came. Like, so you just don't have a reason. And going into the 10th generation, I don't have faith in the Xbox. I honestly, at this point, I just feel like it's a Sony Nintendo race.
So
That's just how I feel.
I have a quick rebuttal to everything you said before we move on. I want to change up the verbiage you said. When you said no could survive. I want to change that to no company could survive.
Oh yeah.
It cost Microsoft 1.054 to fix the red ring issue.
Really? I
Any
didn't know
other
it was that
company?
expensive.
Oh yes, the 360 had a failure rate of, I think it was 54 or
Yeah.
56%.
Yeah, I know
That was
that.
the failure rate. That was the failure rate of the console, and that's a very high failure rate. It's also been that when you sent in your system to be fixed, the red ring. At one point they were fixing them, at another they weren't. Like how you
Oh
say yours came
yeah.
back pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They were just giving out new
Yeah,
systems.
they just
They were giving out
replaced
new
it.
systems.
They
Yeah, they
yeah.
just replaced. They
Cuz
was
it
like,
was
yo, we
more
can't
cost
fix this.
effective just to replace it than to try to fix them.
Yeah, yes. It
They were just,
between
they were coming in such
between
a
trying
heavy
to fix
clip.
the issue. Oh yeah, between trying to fix the issue, the shipping cost because they sent you the coffin and they paid for it to come to them, and then just giving out systems. All of that added up, and they had to increase the warranty from 1 year to
Mhm.
3 years. So that
Mhm.
was one. Your next thing you said about the 360 into the Xbox One, the games and etc. So this is also, I'm gonna make this quick so we can move on. This is also another showing of times from Generation 7. The 360 and the PS3 had Gears 1, 2, and 3, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 come out on the same hardware, on the same system. You didn't have to wait for the sequel to come out on the next console, as you do with most now. All three Gears games came out on the 360. That does not happen anymore. And by the time the Xbox One came out, Microsoft slash Xbox had exhausted their exclusives in a sense. Epic Games was done making Gears of War. Halo
Mhm.
was done Bungie was gone. And instead of them taking all that big dick money and investing it into something new in their studios, oh, we're just gonna buy the IPs off the companies that gave us those games and just, try to bring those games back. And it's like that ship sailed and it has sailed and they need to let it go. PlayStation did the opposite. Hey, they had all three Uncharted games. PlayStation 4 did have an Uncharted 4, and then I think that one little spinoff, and then that was it. There has not been another Uncharted game in almost 10 years. They moved on and you got Ghost of Tsushima, you got a new IP, you got Horizon Zero Dawn, you got a new IP. They took the money from their failed and successes and made something more and new. Had they failed, okay, we'll try something else, or they would have went back to what tried and true worked. But Microsoft just, like you said, they just kept trying to make the same shit work, and it's like, no, honey, as I said, the ship sailed, and they just have not let that go because here we are, Halo Infinite, here we are, Gears 4, 5, Tactics, and now E-Day. Here we are, we're just here, still trying to make more money off the same old shit, but that's where Generation 9 of gaming is. So we've been
Mm-hmm.
on this topic for a minute. Let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. We have That Just Happened / Did You Catch That? And I'm going to start off with the Nintendo Direct that just aired. I don't know about you, but
It was a
I thought
fucking
that
snooze fest.
I thought that direct was very lackluster, and I felt it was very playing it safe. Yes, I understand it's the 40th anniversary of this
Yeah.
Italian chubby plumber with a mustache that made Nintendo what they are, but if it wasn't Mario that was being shown, it was ports of games that have already came out elsewhere, aka like the Hades 2. Hades 2 is already out, and I believe it's still in early access, and it's set to come out in other places. Metro Prime 4. Nintendo fans, you all gonna hate me for this, but I really just don't give a fuck about Metro Prime.
Okay, 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 okay,
That
okay.
game,
Wait. Hold on, because you cannot say that because this Metroid 4 game was announced in 2017. People, we
and
are in
that's
2025.
why I don't give a fuck about it.
No,
It's
but
been almost 10 years.
listen. I don't even know if it can meet the standards just because it was announced so fucking long ago. Like it was just the last episode where I said I don't think they're working on it. I don't think they have been working on it because it's been so radio silent and all these speculations and like you said they took it to one developer, then another one, then another one, then another, and then for it to finally be like, all right, and it's like, bro, we on Switch too, and it's 2025. I was hyped for it. I did admit that in the last episode, but I was hyped for it in 2017. I don't know what to make of it in 2025, and I'm just gonna wait and see. Like I'm not gonna go out my way to buy it because I just don't. It cannot. It's just been so much build up. It can never meet the hype. You can't say like fuck it because it's just been so long. So like what the what like if there was ever a documentary gaming development, I would want to see it on this Metro Prime 4 cuz I just don't understand 8 years of development. What were you doing? You cannot tell me they've been working on this 8 years straight. There's no way. No way.
So like I said, when it was announced in 2017, from 2017 to 2019, it was with some studio that Nintendo gave it to. Then they did a let's call it a wellness check, and they didn't they didn't like what they saw, and they were like, you know what, we're gonna take this from you, bad boy. You did bad, and it took it back to the people who originally worked on the other Metroid Primes, and they had to start from scratch. They started it purely from beginning concept and all. So you look at 2019 to 2025, you look at 6 years.
That's
You have
still ridiculous.
you have current gen games taking that long. The Switch, let's be honest, the Switch is a glorified, overclocked Android tablet.
Not
Nintendo
even
has
a
their
not even a current Android, like old Android tablet.
old
Like
Android. And
yeah.
I don't know in what universe that what you all were doing. It was taking you 6 years to do this because the studio that was working on it, as far as I can remember, they have not been or put out anything or were working on anything besides this goddamn game. And history has shown when a studio is working on something like this for so long, the end product never truly meets the expectations. Now,
Mhm.
hardcore Nintendo fans and hardcore Metro fans, they're gonna slop it up. They're gonna call it, the best thing since spreadable
So-
butter, and they're gonna be happy and love it. And then your regular consumers, the casuals and whatnot, are gonna be like, oh, it's just another first person shooter. It's just a game. It's just a game. And I can tell you right now, it will not live up to the expectation. People that played Metroid Prime 1, 2, 3, and have been dying for another one, and they have waited this whole long to do it, it will not live. It's the same thing Half-Life 3. If it came out, no one would be truly satisfied because it took so long. They would have these grand expectations of it. It's the same thing with a sequel to the video game Bully from Rockstar.
oh
There's
God.
nothing there's nothing that they can do to make that game that it will satiate the masses. It just won't happen. Will I play it? I can't say when the price goes down because Nintendo don't lower the price of their games. So, whenever it comes or goes. My main focus of Direct was I thought they would announce Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered as they did with the first one. So I can go back and replay those in modern control. That didn't happen. Like I said, this was a very lackluster, playing it safe by the numbers. Besides the Metroid Prime 4 announcement and actually dates, because I was shocked at that. The only other good thing that I cared or took joy in was the Super Mario Galaxy pack of those two first games because I didn't have a Wii and I won't go back and nor get one. And the Super Mario movie because, I am a parent and my children love the movie. So I was like, oh, that's something to look forward to. Other than that,
Yeah, listen, I am out of everything that was announced. I think the product that probably raised my eyebrow the most, and is very sad because this is Nintendo is a gaming company, was the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And then I'm like looking at the movie like, oh, probably it's gonna be good just because the freaking Pokemon movie. I like the Pokemon movie, and I'm like, where's the sequel? And then the Pikachu movie was good. I don't know what's going on, but Nintendo is pushing out some good movies. Like I don't know who are they releasing the responsibilities to, but whoever's doing
mhm,
it, at like Chef's Kiss. Yeah, Fire Emblem, Super Mario
nope,
Galaxy 1
don't
and
play them.
2,
Don't play Fire Emblem.
Tennis Fever, like, and then like what else was like, yeah, like no, nothing
Okay,
on.
so I'll say this: you ain't lying about the movies. Nintendo, you're cooking, baby.
Yeah,
You're doing it. I
yeah.
don't know who the hell you got in charge of handling these motion picture films, but you're
Listen,
doing it. Because
listen.
when I saw the Galaxy thing, I was like, hey, when y'all gonna show off the Zelda movie? When that's coming? I'm
Mm.
looking forward. But as far as everything else, like the Hades 2, I don't give I'm trying not to be that guy. I don't give a rat's ass about a roguelikes or roguelites. I don't. The thought of playing a game, earning rewards and unlocking stuff, and then I die, whether it be a skill issue, a mistake, and then you take it all away, and I just need to have fun re-earn it again, that does not ruffle my feathers.
Yeah, that's not gonna get me up and excited.
Let's not get me up and excited. Now, the other games they announced that seemed interesting, the Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. I was like, oh man, that's quick. Okay. I see you. You capitalizing, striking while the iron's hot, as they say. But a lot of stuff was Switch 2 versions of games, and their only reason that they do that is to double dip and to make sure, hey, the Switch 2 version, make sure we add something to it. Okay, nobody say, oh, it's just a port. It's the same thing. Like the Super Mario Brothers Wonder Switch 2, the Pokemon ZA 1 and Switch 2. I'm like, you guys are porting over all this stuff from Switch 1 to Switch 2. And my whole thing is the Switch 2 just came out. You don't have nothing for the system to stand on its own two legs. Now, don't get me wrong. They did port a lot of Wii U games to the original Switch, but that's because, hey, them games suffered because the Wii U was a failure and they got success on the Switch 1. But now you just taking all your best hitters of Switch 1 and, hey, we added this one little photo mode or, a sticker collection to
Ugh.
the Switch 2 version of it. but we're also going to charge you more money, and we're not going to lower the price, nor lower the price of the original either. And you're going to buy it because of Nintendo. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I was nice to see the Pokemon Legends. I don't know if you played the first one, but it's a refreshing change to the normal formula of Pokemon. These Legend games, they're doing something different in each one. So I am a huge Pokemon fan. So is my child. So I was looking forward to that. I'll buy it because whether you buy a Nintendo game when the year comes out or 10 years later, it's gonna be the same price. So
Yeah, it never goes on sale.
you might as well just get it, at least knowing it's brand new and ain't nothing wrong with it.
Mm.
But if there's one thing I must rant on real quickly about Nintendo fans, I want y'all to hear me. I want you to get ready for this. The Virtual Boy Classic online is the biggest crock of shit that I have seen Nintendo peddle. Hear me out here. Not only does Nintendo sell you nostalgia every generation, repackaging its greatest hits over and over again, they say, you know what? We're gonna do one different this generation. We're gonna resell our failure, and they're gonna buy it. The Virtual Boy, if I'm standing corrected by the comments, is Nintendo's greatest, and now they
Damn,
have
is it?
chosen to. Yes, I don't believe the Virtual Boy broke 1 million in sales. It was in the thousands. That's how bad it was. And until this direct, Nintendo does not talk about it. I don't believe they have talked about it. But now they said, hey, guess what? Because we are that guy, we are him, Nintendo. We're gonna sell you our failure, and you're gonna love it. We're gonna sell you this, and part of the online, you have not only have to pay for the service, the games, you gotta pay for a peripheral to play it with, whether it be original Model S or a cardboard cutout of it. And I was
Oh my
befuddled,
god. You're
dumbfounded.
right. I just looked it up. Nintendo Virtual Boy was a commercial failure, selling
Yep.
approximately 770,000 units worldwide. In the US,
Yep.
it was extremely poor, with only 450,000 sales.
That is their greatest failure. And you know what they said?
Holy shit.
Hey, you all love Nintendo. You love us so much. We're going to sell you our failure. We're going to bring it back one time for a good time, and you're going to love it. And I was truly, like I said, I was befuddled. I was shell shocked. I was confused. Pick a verbiage. And I was feeling that. And somewhere in this world, you had a Nintendo fan. Oh my God. Oh, yes. Oh, probably ain't never touched or laid eyes on a Virtual Boy. But hey,
Wait, I gotta gain some understanding. Like, does Virtual Boy have a cult following or something? Like, did somebody ask for like how?
so I need to make sure I say this clearly. There are some true Nintendo diehard fans who will probably wanted it to play it to try it.
Mm.
No. No one is talking about Virtual Boy like that. You can't get a hold of it because it's so poor to find the original peripheral and then try to find games. If anyone who has one and they were willing to sell it, they're gonna charge an arm and a leg for it because it ain't something you're gonna walk into any mom and pop shop, game
Yeah.
store, or whatever and see it there. They'll be like, oh yeah, that thing, yeah, you can have it $50. No, their prices will be like, yeah, you can have it 500 to maybe 5 grand because
God
you ain't finding it no
damn.
you ain't finding that nowhere. That's why when they showed it, I was like, "What? That's where we're going." Nintendo. I am part of the problem because I do buy some of your I do buy your games for the Switch. You are a nostalgia panhandler. That's what you are. You're not a game. You're not a game company. You are a nostalgia panhandler. You are the video game equivalent of Disney. Disney resells movies. You resell games. To do this, and then not only that, you locked it behind the paywall of Nintendo Switch Online, and then you still need to buy the peripheral. That's crazy. But I want to give a prediction. I want to give a quick prediction.
No, I
I
love
predict
predictions.
I predict that this Virtual Boy Classic is probably gonna fail just like the original one did. They'll probably never admit numbers, and they'll probably make sure the units they make are short in supply and it sells out because Nintendo makes artificial shortage, but they will never disclose numbers for it, like how they don't disclose numbers for any other things that come to bad publicity or sale. Because let's be honest, the 13.5 million Wii U sales, that's also an estimate because Nintendo stopped reporting on the numbers.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It
The
did say estimate
Wii U
in
sales
bold.
estimate, the PS Vita sales estimate, Xbox One, and the Series console, all those are estimates because their head company stopped giving numbers because embarrassment is a very, very very nasty dress to wear. But
I'm very shocked that I didn't
oh
realize
yeah.
Virtual Boy was such a failure.
Yes, and see, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't know that because no one talks about it. Nintendo does not bring that up. It don't get brought up in the conversation of the Game Boy. It don't get brought up in the conversation of, when they went from Game Boy to Game Boy Pocket, etc. They don't bring that up because it was said from in the back. But other than that, everything else in that direct was just like
Yeah,
the
it
Pokemon Poké is I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know what the hell that is. It ain't a
yeah,
Pokemon game.
that shit look like a Minecraft. I'm like, did they partner or get some type? If not, Minecraft need to sue the hell out of Nintendo. Like, it looks just like a Minecraft. Like, I'm so like, I don't know anything about the game, so let me preface that before somebody in the comments be like, "Oh, this."
They will.
I have no clue, okay, about this game, but just the look of it, I thought it was Minecraft. I thought they was announcing some type of partnership or something. And maybe that is what it is. I don't know. But I was like, what the fuck is this? And it's just like they slapped a Pokemon name on it for to make it sell. Cause anything with Pokemon is gonna push some type of units. So I was just like, what the hell is that? But
And
yeah.
it's funny you say that because when I saw it, I was like, someone had an idea that someone greenlit, probably the wrong person. A higher up came and was like, "Yo, what is this, Phil? What is this shit? Oh man, this is my idea. We don't want this. This is Nintendo." And to save face, and especially to make sure there was a ROI on this, hey, we're gonna slap the name Pokemon on this, and we're gonna hope that makes it sell. Cause otherwise, if it didn't have that name on it, no one would give it
Yeah,
a time of day.
and it could possibly still not sell with that name on
It probably could and won't. Because one thing I do know about Nintendo fans, you all just want the same,
it.
just dressed differently. One week it's no crust, the next week it's cut in half. After that, cut diagonally. Another time
Cutting
we want a
fours.
club sandwich style. It's the same shit. You just want to serve to you differently.
Make
Cause
make sure you point the mirror at you, Mister. I buy multiple Nintendo games on my Switch.
but you know what? But I'm not that guy. I'm not a Nintendo fan.
Listen, you
I
already
don't
know how I
Nintendo
am. I
Nintendo fans, the hardcore, all about the basics. The Mega Man, the Mario, the
Ooh, Mega
Zeldas,
Man.
Peaches, etc. Anything new or whatnot like that, it don't
They
really
scoff
do
at.
well. Matter of fact, I give you a prime example. Do you remember from the Switch One a game called Arms? Did you ever hear them talk about the success of that game? You ever hear them talk about numbers of
No.
that game? You
No.
ever even see a hint of a sequel to that game? You know why?
No.
Because it was new. The Nintendo fans don't want that. They want the 647 version of Mario, and that's all they want.
Okay, so I mean, this is true, and I just complain about Xbox not listening to what people want. So I guess this is just a little like I guess the main core people they just want the same thing, and then you have people like me who owns a Switch. I only have 4 games on my Switch because I'm not buying the
Damn,
same game over and over and over and over. Nah, bruh. Once I play it, I mean, I could want to go back for nostalgia every now and then, but it's not. Listen, that's probably once in a couple of years. Like I have 4 games on my Switch, and I've had that Switch one for a minute, and I don't plan on getting the two, and I didn't get the OLED or the light or none of that bullshit. So I don't play with Nintendo. Nintendo plays in people's faces too much for me. And like I said, this direct was a fucking snooze fest. Oh, the greatest thing I think was there, like I said, was the fucking movie. As far as the games, I could care less. And that's
now
my
I ain't
that's
gonna
my
lie.
final take on this direct.
Now I ain't gonna lie. For my Switch One, I did buy a lot of games, but
Yeah, I
I
know.
can say I didn't buy a lot of Nintendo first party games. I bought a lot of third party games that I felt that just I would probably enjoy playing this more in a portable capacity. And then I bought a good chunk of exclusives like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. The first one and two of those games was on PlayStation and Xbox.
Mhm.
I don't know what happened with the licensing or whatever. They never made a third one, and then the third one comes and it's like, hey, it's only on Switch, and it stayed on
Super
there.
random.
Nine is super random. 9 to 10. Nintendo paid the license fee, and they probably paid the development fee. Them two checks being paid, they was like, hey, this ain't going nowhere else. Damon X Machina, that was only on Nintendo Switch,
Oh
then later
yeah.
came the PC. The sequel has come to other consoles, but that original game was only on Switch and only on PC years later. So I will say, yeah, I did buy games for my Switch, a couple impossible ports. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit of the next Nintendo segment. But as far as like their bread and butter, their first party, that don't move me because, like I said, Breath of the Wild was not special. It was just a new take on Zelda. And yeah, I did buy it. I enjoyed it. I played, I think it was like 180 something hours on it. Just running around, being this little dude, killing shit, solving the shrines and whatnot, fighting bosses. Yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. But like I said, this was also at the time when I was still hyped and loved open world games, the freedom to do what I want, how I want, when I want. But like I said, there are many games that have been done that way before Nintendo. As far as this direct, I ain't got nothing else. Like I said, the biggest highlights were Galaxy Duo, which hopefully they don't pull that same shit as they did with the Mario 35th anniversary and make it a time release, and then they're gonna snatch it from store shelves and like that. I don't know why they did. The Galaxy movie and the Pokemon ZA, and of course the nostalgia, the Virtual Boy. I need to see how that. I need to be proven wrong because when it fails, I'm gonna add that to my Nintendo rant, people. I will bring that up. The failure of something not once but twice, baby, in Breath of the Wild. You're gonna look forward to it, Nintendo fan. I guarantee it. Moving on. The next Nintendo piece for our subject matter is the Nintendo. I don't know if anyone of our viewers slash listeners, if you keep up with current news. I mean, that's why you have people like us and other podcasts. But Nintendo was recently awarded a patent for capturing monsters or creatures
Oh
and having
my
them battle
god.
for you. And let me just say this, and I don't care how any of you, I'm not going to say you people, that sounds bad, even though I just said it. You Nintendo fans, take this. That is the scummiest, shittiest, insecure little dick thing you can do. Because the only reason this is happening is because a little indie game called Power World came out. And people compared it to Pokemon so much so, and it sold such high numbers, higher numbers than any Pokemon game in recent years have done. And Nintendo was like, hey, we can't have that. We can't have people compare a game to our game and then it does better. So they sued them. And as far as I know, the lawsuit ain't going that well or that great in Nintendo's favor. And it wasn't for copyright infringement or anything. They were suing them over a patent. Apparently a patent of throwing a ball and catching a creature. The last time I checked, there were many games that did that before Pokemon was invented. There were Dragon Quest games that did. And now Nintendo, with their big dick money, said, hey, we need to make sure that no one can show us up again. We need to make sure if someone wants to try to make a Pokemon S game, we're going to sue the fuck out of you. We're going to make sure you know who we are. We're Nintendo, damn it. We saved the gaming industry 40 years ago. And damn it, you're going to recognize that's what Nintendo is doing. It's shitty, truly a dampening hindrance on creativity. And the last time someone did this was Warner Brothers when they patented the Nemesis system in those Shadow of Mordor games. And when they patented that system, it was never used again. And no one could ever use it. So now, when Nintendo is telling you, don't make a Pokemon X game because we don't want you making us look bad.
And it's not in the patent that my cousin is talking about. Nintendo has a patent on summoning. Damn, can I not speak? Summoning characters and making them battle for you. That is the what the patent is essentially. And I don't understand who the fuck passed that, because when I say that is like a common S like concept of any, like, who approved that? And if I was any type of company, I would look around and say, who the fuck does Nintendo think they are? We're about to band together and get this shit reversed. Who the fuck do you think you are? You better go sit several seats. Oh man, and when because we have a group chat of with one of our friends, and he actually sent that to the chat. I thought it was fake. I had to click on it because I'm like, ain't no way this is real. Nintendo just listen, all this energy that Nintendo does and copywriting and pulling up infringements on people's videos on YouTube, if they took that
Don't forget
amount of
suing.
energy
Don't forget
in
suing. They
suing,
sue a lot of people too.
if they just mustered up half the energy that they spent on that bullshit, making a new IP, I guarantee Nintendo would be in a better place. I'm not saying that the Switch ain't selling. I'm just saying in a game satisfaction for people that are not buying Mario for the umpteenth thousand time. I swear, their catalog would probably be a lot more diverse, a lot more appealing. Hell, I would even speculate they could probably push graphics a little better. Like if they spent
Mm,
half the energy on the
mm.
bullshit. Nintendo just it's such a slimy ass company. Yeah,
I'm
I
not gonna lie though. I do it. I will give them prop that the graphics thing, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, are not the most graphically pushing boundaries games. And them games sold millions. Nintendo, and I hate to do this, but Nintendo is the pure reason of what I said why you do not need the most state of the art graphics
oh
for
yeah,
a
yeah.
game because Pokemon looks like clay slapped together in Sword and Shield and Violet and Scarlet. They look like some shit made on Microsoft Artworks 98, whatever the hell that program was. And they sell. So I give them their credit because they do focus on gameplay. That's their whole shtick. They're all about the gameplay. They'll fuck you over everywhere else. But you gonna get fun gameplay. I give them that. But this patent is scummy. It's scummy. It's pretty much saying I don't want competition. And the whole thing is this is an industry that lives and breathes by its competition. Competition pushes creativity. It pushes the next developer to strive to do something not just to maybe one up the last guy, but to show, hey, I can make something beautiful too. And them doing this is just and the only reason this happens is because they did this in America. This wasn't done in Japan. They won this patent in America. Capitalism, baby. But that's how it
So,
goes.
in other words, Nintendo had a lot of backdoor meetings with whoever was making these decisions, and they probably filled
Absolutely.
their pockets and got this patent. Because we all know that's
Probably.
how it works.
Well, it's well known. I don't know if you know this. It's well known that everyone says Nintendo has the best lawyers, like,
Oh,
period.
that's why they're on a nonstop suing, copy infringement. Like they're just nonstop. Like they don't
If
rest. They take no days off. You could get a
they
letter from
don't,
Nintendo on a holiday.
if Nintendo wanted to sue the Pope, I'm pretty sure they would probably win. That's how good their lawyers are.
I'm saying.
But what this patent has done, it has opened the door for any developer with enough big dick ish money for any game mechanic to come out or to be used and they find success with it and they don't want it copied in any other game, they can just do the same thing. Like I said, the last time this happened was with Warner Brothers and the Nemesis system. And that system has not been used ever again. And it was a very unique system that could have been used in many, many different ways in gaming. That could have breathed a little bit of fresh air, and it's just stuck. And now Nintendo is telling you, "Hey, don't make a Pokemon-esque game, son, or we will find you."
It's really sad. That whole
Yes,
yeah. Yeah, I'm exhausted talking about Nintendo's shady ways. Look,
I got nothing else. Like
yeah,
I've saw.
fuck Nintendo.
Because viewers, please believe, infamous me, that guy, I can talk shit on Nintendo all day. You give me a vitamin water, triple X ICI berry. I can give you a work chef, an 8 hour work chef on Nintendo. But we won't do that. Next, let's roll
Hey,
this along.
listen, definitely hit the comment sections. Let us know what you thought about the direct. Was it a snooze fest for y'all, or did y'all actually like some of the announcements? And definitely let me know. Are you still excited about this goddamn Metroid Prime 4 game? And what is your expectations of this game? Cause I ain't got no expectations. So I would like to hear somebody that was there when they announced it 8 years ago. Are you do you still get that same feeling today in 2025? So let us know in the comments below.
I have a quick expectation. It's gonna run shitty on the original Switch, and it's
The
gonna
system that
run
it was announced on or for.
the system it was announced on, and it's gonna run somewhat decently on the Switch 2. And when anyone complains about it, their answer is gonna be, "Well, just buy the Switch 2 and the Switch 2 version. That's all you gotta do. Why would you buy the old one?" But anywho, let's move along. Live service. How terrible are they, and are there any good? Let's take the first one. How terrible are live service? I'll let you start this off, Trees, because
Sir,
I
you
got a
already know I don't give a fuck about I told you we was in that generation where all the money that you asked of me is when I originally bought the game and you never came back to nickel and dime me ever again unless you came out with a sequel or some type of DLC. Not no shit that's constantly nickel and diming me every fucking other day that I'm playing. And you cutting down content that should have been in the original release and you're just breaking it up over a span of 12 months. Like, if you don't get the fuck, stop playing in my face, yo. I don't like live service games. I go out of my way to not buy live service games. If I do, then listen, I'm probably forced to buy it because of you. But I don't know.
how dare you?
I don't feed the machine of live service. I don't play that. I don't support it. And like I said, I'm very cautious of what I give my money to and who I reward with my money. Live service games is never on the list, okay? So that's just my blatant short and sweet answer.
Understandable. My sentiment on live service is one of the crucial reasons, pillars, just all around bullshit is why this gaming industry slash entertainment industry is falling apart. And I include streaming service in with live service. And I'm going to break it down. So you have games like the original Destiny, and this is going to tie into both questions: how terrible and are there any good ones? Destiny and Destiny 2 are live service games.
Mm-hmm.
And before their fall from grace, they made a lot of money. They made a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money. You have games like not Pill of Eternity, Path of Exile, Warframe. You have
Mm-hmm.
games that do the online, the live service thing, and you have some who are humble, who are players first, and truly just trying to make something, and to the best of their ability, it has to be an online ongoing thing. And then you have developers who are like, hey, we can take something great and we can just drip feed, sprinkle content bit by bit to make sure they don't leave, to keep them coming, and we can nickel and dime them along the way. Why give them a whole game when we can give them half of it and have them pay for the rest of it? And then
Mm-hmm.
we can add in a microtransaction here, a season pass here, a battle pass there. And I'm going to say what the real culprit is. The real culprit is Destiny and Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
The amount of money that those games have achieved and brought in, it made everyone look at gaming not as an artistic thing to express yourself, but an industry in which there is so much money to be made and consumers to be duped. And Fortnite is an ever
Wait,
going machine.
wait. Why you say dupe? Like they tricking us? What do you mean by
Yes,
dupe?
yes, yeah, I will say tricking, yes, because when live service
Oh
first
gosh.
coming out, there weren't games being made like. See, when you hear a live service, you automatically know, hey, this game's gonna come out with connection issues. It's probably gonna lag. The servers are gonna fuck up. It ain't gonna have next to no content. It ain't gonna have an end game. And I should come back to this in 3 years when it has this redemption story, or AKA its No Man's Sky story,
Wait,
aka
and
Far
let's
Cry.
preference that now everybody ends up there with the nose man
And
sky world.
everybody ends up there, but that's just what live service is. It
It's
took
just
years for the
broken
quote
content.
unquote, yeah. Matter of fact, this is the talk that they give. Anytime you hear something about like, hey man, we have this idea for this game or this franchise, over the next 10 years, that's bullshit. That's a live service.
Yeah.
Their grand plan will be stretched out over years. For you to go right now and play the original Destiny, you can't do this with That's the second one because they've literally taken away content and campaign. But the complete cohesive story of the original Destiny, it took years. It took years to
Mhm.
get that, and that's crazy. I remember when that game came out, and I beat it in and maybe like 2 afternoons, and then I was like, all right, so what do I do now? Oh, just replay the same mission several dozen times until you unlock new stuff. Okay, and then what I do? Oh, then you're gonna play these missions that you play during the story, but we're gonna make them super hard. You know, it'll be a weekly theme. We call it the Nightfall. Okay, then what I do? Well, you don't do nothing else, motherfucker, because there's nothing else to do until we give you something to do. And it's just like, what? And for whatever reason, gamers let this shit ride to where they made a new fucking game, Destiny 2, to not only do it again, but they did it worse. They did it
Mhm.
motherfucking worse. Now I will admit, there are some live service games that do it right, but they don't call themselves live service. And I'm gonna give a few good examples, and I'll give why. You have Borderlands. I'm gonna say Borderlands 2, but we can go with Borderlands the series 1, 2, 3, pre-sequel, whatnot. They are fully complete games. Let's stay with Borderlands 2 for my prime example. Everyone knows and loves Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 is a feature complete game, a beginning, middle, end story, side content, end game. And not only did they add expansions to it, of course they charged you for it because this was premium content bullshit that they give away for free. But then they also added seasonal and side content. You had the 4 expansions, and then they had the Headhunter DLCs, and then they had skin packs. And they're like, hey, we're gonna hit all bases, and they were consistent with it. To me, that is a good live service game. They kept that game going for years, and people kept coming back and playing that game for years, trying different builds, grinding bosses. That is a good live service game. Space Marine 2. That is a good live service game. That is
Oh
a
yeah, yeah,
game
yeah, yeah.
at the beginning, middle, and end, and like, hey, we have this. We have this side content for you if you want to try it. If not, hey, we have multiplayer to go with it as well. Excuse me, Jesus. We give new missions, we give new maps, we give new modes, all for free. Only thing we ask, hey, you want to look sexy in your Space Marine? You want to look good serving the Emperor's will? Hey, we're gonna sell you some skin, and that's it. That's good live service. Helldiver, yes, Helldivers is online only. It does need an internet connection, but guess what? When it came out, it's a simple live service. You are a soldier going to war for your planet. You can play co-op. It's an endless amount of randomly generated missions, and it's just good time. Everything we add to the game, that's free of charge as well. But guess what? You want some new arsenal, new skin to look good while you protect Super Earth? Hey, we just charge you a war bond, and they are consistent with their war bonds. That game is, I think, what, a year and a half old now, and every new month there's a new war bond, a new gun, a new armor set, new little icons for your thing, the little shit players care about as far as customizing an online profile or avatar of themselves. That's what people enjoy. Now you're bad live services, like I said.
Wait, but
Apex.
wait. Before you get into that, I want to also make a note about Helldivers too. You can buy those war bombs just from playing. Like you can get the credits
Oh
from
yes.
playing the
I
game.
totally
So
forgot about that.
you don't even have to necessarily spend money. Now, I will say it's a grind, but I remember like 5 war bombs I never spent real money on. Like
You are absolutely right. I totally forgot about that. If you play the game enough, you don't need to spend cold hard cash. You get the in-game credit in the game.
mhm.
A lot of games do not do that. You have to buy in-game credit with hard-earned money. That's not true. They literally say, "Hey, if you play this game enough, if you really about giving your time to us and money because it's not a free-to-play, it is a premium quote-unquote live service. You pay for the product. Hey, you can get the add-ons next to free, however you want to dress it." I totally forgot about that. That is good live service. Now,
Mhm.
the bad, like I was saying, the Destinies, the Apex Legends, the Fortnites, anything with I'm sorry, not microtransactions, the loot box bullshit, the
Ugh.
battle pass, that's bullshit. Those are bad. And then my whole thing too, like I said, the need to be always online connectivity thing, all that is a form of control to make sure you don't circumvent the systems they put in place. To make sure if you are frustrated grinding for that in-game currency, hey man, you can pay $5 and get it. That's the only reason online connectivity thing is there. That's all it's for. It's a form of DRM, plain simple and period. But I can tell you wholeheartedly, live service is hurting the industry, and I don't mean gaming. I mean just entertainment as a whole. Because like I said, live service. I take the streaming services as live service because you used to have Hulu and Netflix, and the moment Netflix started making money, everybody started pulling content from it and starting their own streaming service. And it's
Wait,
like,
wait.
dude,
Don't go too far in that because that's a whole nother topic.
oh no! I got you, I got you. But I'm just saying, this live service shit, it's hurting everyone because now everyone wants to chase the dream of, well, if we just make a good enough live service, we'll make money.
Yeah,
It's
for
too late.
10 years.
It's too late. The live service games that are king now, they will stay because if you just started working on a live service game and it's going to come out in, let's just say 5 years from now, there's no incentive for anyone to leave the live service game that they've devoted 3,000 hours into and to play your new one and have nothing to show for it, no new toys or nothing, and have to start all over. That ain't how that work, baby. There's a
Yeah,
reason why Fortnite is still the king. People pay hard-earned money for them skins. They not finna go to no new game and start over, and especially for something untested, they're not doing that. They're gonna sit their candy ass there and enjoy their skins, their Futuramas, their Gokus. Jesus Christ, they have so many skin
yeah,
crossovers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just too many to
I could
list.
say a random intellectual property character and probably be right that it's a skin once upon a time. Yeah, that's how I feel about the live service. It is truly a hindrance. And
Yeah, yeah.
matter of fact, I can give one more good example. Give the floor to you. Before me and my cousin now share the truly monumental disdain for Ubisoft games,
Ugh.
there was a game that I was truly hyped for, and it was called The Division.
Oh.
Because I don't know, I don't know if you all know this, but I love third person shooters. That's my
Yeah.
bread and butter, baby. I'm not a fan of first person shooters like that, but we'll get into that for top of the other day because I can rant for that on a while. When they were showing it off, I don't think it was till like the last few times they showed it off that they disclosed, shown, or told whatever what the game truly was. That it was an online always type of thing. And I was like, but when you play that game, and a good chunk of it I played by myself. I used to run daily missions alone and whatnot. People didn't really start getting into it hardcore like that until they started doing majority of that game I played myself. And when you play it, you can just see this did not need to be an online only game. This could have easily been a Borderlands-esque type of game that could be played online or off, solo or co-op. And playing a co-op, you know, the game acts this way, and when you play solo, the game reacts this way. I plotted the first division. The second one came, they doubled down more on the live service shit. They doubled down on, you know, hey, we need you to buy the skins, the outfits, you know, and all this type of stuff. And then that hinders the game. Now, yes, people still do play Borderlands. I'm sorry, not Borderlands. The Division 2 to this day that they made a second expansion to it. I think it's Return to Brooklyn or something. But the player base is nowhere near what it used to be or as big as. People are getting tired of the nickel and diming. If I give you $70 or $80 for a fucking video game, you need to spend any more money. Let me play the game and move on. That is why I don't understand why they keep saying, "Oh, gaming is so expensive to make, and we gotta earn so much money back." But you charge for the game, then you charge for a season pass, you charge for a battle pass, and then you have the microtransaction store, and then you do collaboration and skins. You are making hand over fist multiple times. Why do you need to increase the price of the game by $10? It's just nothing but greed, and that's all live service is. It's just the industry finding a new form of greed.
Yeah, just going back from the last episode when I put up EA's live services, like that's more than it was more than 70% of their income for the year. Like so that's just I don't listen. Yeah, I don't I am a firm believer. I say I give the finger to all live service games. I think I had looked up cuz I was just generally trying to get a feel of what live service games are on the market. And out of the list of there was Fortnite, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy, Warframe, Apex Legends, Call of Duty, Warzone, and League of Legends. I've only played one of those games, which is Destiny's 2, and that was like I said many of times. You told me to get it. Because we could play together. We played together and we were like, what the fuck? And of course we played Division 2. I didn't play Division 1, so I was just coming in and I was like, this is it. It got real repetitive real quick, and we haven't went back to Division 2 in years. So
Well,
yeah, I said this before. Live service game has ruined the gaming industry. It's literally crippled some developers, because at the time it was a crave and it was like, oh, we can nickel and dime somebody for 10 years, yeah, and not have to, just try to maintain it and make sure it can keep running. Like, oh yeah, everybody was trying to get a live service game at one point, and I was like, well, you ain't getting a dollar out of me. And I went a long time like without buying a new game, because it was just live service game after live service game after. And I'm just like, no. Fuck live service games. Fuck everybody that is trying to go out their way. And I think if you're a developer trying to make a live service game in 2025, you have an uphill battle, baby. Because Fortnite has they
absolutely.
Listen, you have an uphill battle. I don't even know if you could like even take any shares away from Fortnite, Destiny, because like you said, some of these people has been playing Fortnite for years and Destiny 2 for years. Like, why would they buy your IP and start from nothing and then still got to
Yep.
be drip fed for 5 years?
Yep.
Nah. And I think
I
the
want to.
landscape is shifting too from live service games. Like, people like us are very adamant, like people like me, like, I'm not buying a live service game.
Absolutely not.
Unless it's something like Space Marines 2 or Helldivers 2, like where you could work around or you get it for free and you only buy literally cosmetics and to look pretty. I think the environment is very much in line with what I feel and how I feel. Now developers are trying to shift quickly, and like I said, they're trying to redirect and correct course. So live service games, I think, are a dying breed, and if you're not already in the game, I don't think you can come in and get any. And I'm not saying like it's impossible. I just think it's a very uphill battle for you.
Absolutely. I want to piggyback off what you said because that is true. You are too late. You're too late to it. There are the current live service games that are going around. That is it. And you're trying to come in and, oh, we can get a slice of this pie. You're not even gonna get a piece of the crust. It's not happening.
Yeah,
Because like
no.
I said, no one's leaving Fortnite and all their skins and their little group, their buddies and whatnot. We're not leaving Fortnite to go to your game that's untested, unproven, brand new, has no player base, and then not to mention, you need to earn the money in order to what it's at. Fortnite got lucky because they were owned by Epic. Epic had money and has money to pay for those licenses that they use for the skins.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're slick with the skins. When a new skin comes out, and I only learned this from my child, you have a limited time to buy that skin. And once it's gone, it's gone. So if you start playing Fortnite today and you meet a group of dudes and one dude is Goku, another one is Darth Vader, and another one is Naruto, and another one is whoever the hell from some IP, and you like, damn, man, those look cool. I want them. Oh man, I bought this shit 4 years ago. This ain't around no more. And you just like, oh, everyone is gonna rag on you. Everyone's gonna make fun of you. Like, oh man, he got the default skin. He broke. Or he knew.
Not
That
the
ain't gonna happen.
brokey.
But not just that. You made me remember a point we were talking about with not to linger too much in the past, but the state of ninth gen gaming. Sony has learned the hard way, I believe, the cost it will take to not only make a live service but to sustain it. The only thing Epic does is Fortnite. The only thing Bungie did before being purchased by PlayStation was Destiny. There were talks that the reason Naughty Dog canceled The Last of Us Online was everyone was saying that Bungie came in and was like, oh, this is bad, no, this ain't good, no, this ain't good enough. But then there were other articles and interviews that came and said that's not true, that Bungie gave Naughty Dog a dose of reality and told them, okay, you make this live service game and etc. All right, that's cool and fine and dandy. How will you support it? To support a live service game, it is a all hands on deck type of thing. You're not putting that out and then just walking away and going to go keep making the next game you're going to do, etc. No, you need to keep feeding beating this. You need to
Mm-hmm.
keep putting
It's an
energy,
endless beast.
time, and money. Yeah, it's an endless thing. And Naughty Dog said, hey, once we realized that, which I don't know how the fuck you didn't realize that when you started making the game and when you were making the game, how no one came about and was like, hey man, you know you got to keep supporting this, right? That's when they backed out. And then I don't know if you know this. I think it was a year or so ago. There's reports that like out of the 12 live service games Sony was working on, they just canceled a slew of them, like just outright, like 6 of them automatically off the back that had never seen the light of day or anything. And one of them was a Spider-Man live action game where
Oh
like it would be like
God.
four or five Spider-Man s people web slinging throughout New York, and you can fight bosses and etc. A trailer or a leaked version footage of it came out, and I ain't gonna lie, it looked good. It looked good. But then when the argument came out on how you had to sustain that, I was like, Sony first party studios can't do that. You can't work on the single player games that they make and give it the attention it deserve and then still split your talent base to support games like that. Now the Spider-Man one, I thought to my head, well, I assume why they canceled that or left that alone was because to support that, at least in any way, shape, and form, cosmetic wise, okay, there's tons of Spider-Mans, different costumes from different universes, from different comic book stories and etc. that you could sell as microtransactions, $1 here, $5, whatever, whatnot. But then there's the go back to on the license issue. You gotta talk to Marvel about that. You gotta talk to probably the artist who probably originally inked or penned that thing.
Uh,
How many palms are getting greased for this? How long is that suit up for sale and this and that? And these are the issues you have to deal with. And they're probably like, hey, you know what? Fuck this. And now, like you said, they are trying to and correct course. And now half the generation has been blown. Because me personally, it shouldn't be no new PlayStation. Matter of fact, let me correct myself. It shouldn't be no new console that hit the market until 2030 at least. I have no problem with a generation lasting 10 years because, quite frankly, when I look at my games on PS4, I look at my games on PS3, and then I look at my games on PS5, and I'm like, yo, I don't hear a lot of just straight PS5. A lot of them are 4 and 5. That's the toll the industry is going. I got nothing else on this.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like live service games are definitely a dying concept. And I would just say this just to end it off. I feel like at the time it was a craze because certain developers just saw, oh, the possibility of all this money for limited least amount of work for maximum money output. And so they was trying to quickly get into it, try to gain a footing, plant their flag, sort of say, and they really didn't understand the cost until it was too late when they were already developing. And then once other people numbers came out of the actual cost, then they were like, hold on now, we no, we're not dedicating that now. We thought this was, listen, we was sign up for something a little different. Like we was trying to do the least amount of work for the most amount of money. Like that, this shit is requiring this amount of money to maintain. Oh, no. Then we gotta keep the development team the entire time. No. Then we gotta make
Yeah,
up new concepts and, and,
yeah,
and constantly feed the machine every month. No. Then
yes.
that's when they started backpedaling. So, like I said, it's a dying concept, rightfully so. I'm ready for the gaming industry to kind of reset. Kind of how like the stock market does with companies. It has a reset period a lot of the time. So this is a very much of a concept that I hope will end and never come back. And I wish all the best for Fortnite. And if it holds on for 20 plus years, then good for them. But I have not spent $1 on Fortnite. I don't ever plan to spend $1 on Fortnite, and I don't plan to play Fortnite because I am a firm believer, baby. I'm not. No, you're not nickel and diming me. Not with games is $89.99 nowadays. Like you get the fuck out my. Stop playing in my face, and that's what I feel like live service games did for a long time, and still do to a certain degree. They play in people's face. And that's it. That's all I gotta say about that shitty ass concept. But yeah, out of that whole list, like I said, I only played Destiny 2, and it was funny because when I did look up live service games, Google said the worst live service games ever to hit the market was Anthem, which we've talked about, Avengers, and Battlefield 2042.
Oh man,
That
I forgot about Battlefield 2042. Yeah, that was
those
bad.
don't, and that is from
Supposedly,
Google.
supposedly it launched and it didn't have a scoreboard.
Yes, it does reference that it launched in a rough and unstable state.
You made me think of
So,
something. You made me think of something. I'm going to bring it up before we move on to the next topic. And this is a theory. I won't say it's a fact, but I'm going to leave it as a hardcore theory. Live service in its form today came from EA and 2K with the sports games. Microtransactions and all that shit were in sports games for the longest. In your Maddens, in your 2Ks, your virtual currency, etc. And I cannot remember which studio of which publisher was the first. It might have been EA, who was like, we make so much money putting this shit into our sports games. Why not put it in a regular game? And then that's where this all took off. Because, as you stated, a lot of EA's money comes from the microtransactions and the live service stuff. There was an article that came out when Xbox was trying to buy Activision, and why PlayStation was trying to protest it, because I think PlayStation makes almost $1 billion just on people buying the microtransactions of Call of Duty, because they get 30% cut of that. Every
mhm.
game that's in the PlayStation Store, they get a 30% cut, and that also includes microtransactions. So all the skins, the Call of Duty coins, all that, they get a cut of that. Who in the hell want to let go of $1 billion of free money
Yeah.
just from it being there? But that was it. We've harbored on this long enough. Next we're gonna roll into Ghost of Yotei predictions. I'm gonna take the lead on this. I look at Ghost of Yotei. It looks just as beautiful, just as vibrant as the first one. The story is trying to tell seems very maybe old Western stylish. Of those, I don't know if anyone's ever seen those old Japanese movies from back in the day where the translation was horrible.
Oh
They
God, yes.
the dialogue was stopped, but their mouths were still moving. It's like, whoa, whoa, what is
They're
that?
not even trying to sync up.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm gonna say this: the game will probably suffer for the wrong reason,
Oh, here we go.
and
About to pop off.
I think it's dumb, and I do not care about it. But you have a lot of people who are butthurt that you play as a woman in this game. I don't know why that is. I personally don't care. When there's any video game that allows me to create my character, I make it a woman. I believe it'll do good. It'll probably stagger a little bit. A lot of people expected the sequel to be a bigger part of the war that was going on, probably lead into Japan, because when the Mongols invaded, they did invade Tsushima before hitting more mainline Japan. And maybe people thought, like, there'll be more a continuation of that story.
Of
Whereas
Jessica.
it's what's going on. Whereas now we see the ghost story, in a sense, is a stories of certain individuals and the atrocities they go through and how they, I guess, bounce back from them. Is that the way to put it? In a sense, I think it'll do good. I don't know why the Legends mode ain't coming with it from the get-go, but I can assume it's the same principle why GTA Online did not ship or was not activated with GTA 5, in a sense. When it came out, it came out later to let people play the story and then move on to its desserts. Me personally, I do believe it'll do good. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep it a buck. God of War 2018, and I believe Marvel Spider-Man 2018 and Ghost of Tsushima have all done great. Their sequels somewhat underperformed due to various reasons or another, and I believe Ghost of Yotei will join that trend,
Mm.
whether it be for the, like I said, the little hiccups of you're playing as a woman, which I don't understand. Like, who cares? I'm excited that they expanded the weaponry. You got a gun, you have an adachi. Like, once again, I believe gamers get caught up on the wrong shit. Me personally, I think it will do good.
Okay. So I just want to recap Ghost of Tsushima sales. So, as of September of 2024, Ghost of Tsushima sold over 13 million copies. Now, let's
That's damn
let's
good for a brand new IP.
yeah, let's vacuum it. In the first 3 days of release, it sold 2.4 million in the first 3 days. And this is 2020, people. This is when
This
it
is
was getting a little
during the
rocky
midst of that
outside.
C word.
Yeah, it was getting a
Mm-hmm.
little rocky. People were getting laid off and no one knew where the next paycheck was coming and stuff. Yeah, so it was that was very, very a successful launch of a brand new IP. And I remember when they announced it, wasn't that the scene where PlayStation was doing a little thing where they, the PlayStation Direct pretty much, and it had the dude come out with the flute and everybody was
With the
like, "What
flute.
the fuck?" Everybody
Yeah,
was like,
that's back when Sony and PlayStation was trying to
Yo,
show
I
people, hey,
remember like
we
everybody
can
was like,
give you
"What the
more.
fuck is that? Why? Who? What game?" And then they showed the gameplay, and everybody was like, "Damn, that look good." And this
Yeah,
is
that's when Sony and PlayStation realized that its audience was uncultured. That was like, you heathens, we try to give you something new, and look how you just shit on it.
no,
Because
but
after that, they never did nothing like that again.
no, and I also want to also frame this correctly. This is after 10 years, I think, of people requesting Japan, old school samurai ninja from Ubisoft, and Ubisoft was just like, nah. And then it took Ghost of Tsushima coming out and doing the idea not only better, but it did it right in their face, and it's just like, oh, now you can't. Now we already filled our itch, and you trying to release now the game we told you to release 8 years ago? Fuck you, Ubisoft, and that's why I took the stand. I'll never buy another motherfucking Ubisoft game ever again, and I mean that. Ghost One was a huge success, and when I say I put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of
Hundreds.
hours, like the screenshots that you saw above, like I have 20 gigabytes worth of gallery data on my PS5 just from Ghost. That's how much I was playing it, and this is the game
That
that got
sounds
me
like a
through the shutdown. When Legends came out, oh my god. This is the only thing that kept me sane was playing Legend mode. And I remember trying to get you on there and I was telling you how to get the build and all that, get your samurai build up the par cuz you was getting killed fast and we was doing Nightmare and I was playing Nightmare
you
Survival
ain't gotta
when
say
it
all that.
was an hour
You ain't gotta say
plus
all that.
long.
Hey, you ain't had to add all that extra. Did nobody ask about how I
Listen.
was
I
performing?
played it before the update where they lowered the number of ways on Nightmare. I was playing an hour, sometimes hour and a half, and end up fucking up on the last way, being pissed. So I put in a lot of hours on Ghost One, and for Ghost Two, listen, I am a person who does not like playing a female character. Now I don't know. I'm just gonna preference that I guess it's because I am a female and I rather play as a male, and you're a male, and you rather play as a female. But that's not gonna keep me from buying the game, So it's a lot of heat the game is catching because it's a female based lead character. Like I said, I am a female and I do prefer playing as a male in my games, but it's not going to keep me from buying it because baby, if they do launch and when they do, because I'm pretty sure they will release Legends mode for the sequel, baby,
They already confirmed it that they would.
yeah, so but I'm saying even on Legends ones where my main build was the samurai, I still played as the female archer chick. So it's not like I have an issue with playing with female characters. It's just a preference. But it's not a preference to the point where I'm gonna shit on the sequel and I'm gonna be like doing all this complaining and saying I ain't gonna buy it because I'm gonna buy it. Listen, I understand people have preference and they rather play a game the way they want to. I do think that's gonna hurt the game, honestly, and it shouldn't. Is he gonna do 13 million sales? I don't know, but I
Right.
still think it's gonna do good enough. We could to the point where we could get a third sequel in the series. We could get a trilogy.
I will say this, and I have to reiterate: we are not a political channel. We have no ties or affiliates, anything of that. But I do know that there are certain segments of the gaming community that have an issue issue with certain wokeification things being trying to be pushed into gaming, whether it
Oh
be a
yeah,
certain narrative
agendas.
or agendas and whatnot. And a lot of people feel that the surge of female characters or female led protagonists is part of that. And to some degree, my thing is, I like to play as a female character. I play as an attractive. Every character I made in Saints Row that I can make a female is a female. Any character, any game I play where I can make my own character, it is going to be a woman. Now, the other stuff, like I said, there's other things. There's other little agenda-esque things they've tried to run and do and whatnot into gaming. And like I said, we won't get into that. This is not about politics. This is about entertainment. Story, how this all goes down. I'm confused because there was a narrative going about saying that the game was non-linear, that the 6 guys you go after, you can go after them in any order. But then I heard another, I guess, a backtracking, or someone was saying that that's not true. It is linear. You will go after each one of them in a very specific order tied to the story. I hope it's the former and not the latter. I would love to pick and choose how I go about killing and
Yeah,
doing and
cause
whatnot because
you
yeah,
the type of mofo that will do 100% of the side shit and not do the main
I
shit for
sure
3 years. So fucking annoying.
but she's right. Teresa's right. I will run around and do all the side content. I'll run around and explore. I'll upgrade armor. I will do hunting quests. I'll do all that. And then when the time comes to play the story and play the bosses, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just some unstoppable god. I flick through the bosses to go through the story. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. That game came out 5 years ago, and it was a
Yo,
great 5 years. It was a
there's
great
a
5 years playing this game.
there's a meme of like someone basically doing that in a game, and he finally gets to the first boss, and he just one shot kill. That is
Yeah,
for
that'd be me.
legit you.
That'd be me. But see, that's one of the reasons why I took so strongly to open world games, because they in my this is how I feel. Even though the game has a story, it has its own set, whatever it's trying to tell. In open world games, you make your own. You go about it how you want. I guess that's one of the reasons why I also am prone to and love the Bethesda game. Any
Mm-hmm.
real gamer knows the Oblivion games, hell, even Fallout. You don't play a Bethesda game for their story. You play it to make your own fucking story, and then eventually you
Yeah.
play their story, and then you're like, oh, well, that was stupid. Why'd they do that? Why'd they have that guy here? And why was that one dude doing this when he could, oh, well, but then you look back and it's like, yo, you spent 300 hours on this. I'm like, yeah, man. I went and built my own base. I had
Mm-hmm.
I think mercenaries, and I was going out and killing people and looting this, taking over towns, and have my own business going. And then after like 5, 6 years, I played their story, and I was like, huh,
You know,
and that's
you
it. But
you you say that, and you just trigger my mind, and I pop up this game. This is another Metroid for Metroid Prime type shit where Fable was released first teased how long ago? Where the fuck is the next Fable
oh,
game?
oh man, oh
Listen,
man,
when you was talking about how you can do all this shit and blah blah, I was like, man, I remember doing that shit on Fable too. Is the next
it's
Fable
Fable.
game? But yeah, that's a whole
So
nother rant though.
So I'll give a quick answer to that. The last whatever the fuck Xbox does, where you want to call it a direct, a showcase, whatever. The last time they did whatever with that, and they announced the games that was coming out this year, the Dooms and etc. Before that came out, they had expressed actually, you know what? I'm sorry, it wasn't that. It was right before they started canceling games and firing people.
Mm-hmm.
They had said that Fable was pushed to 2026, and I was like, yo, you just fucking cancel this game at this, because the last time I checked, it was supposed to come out last year, and they delayed it to this year. I don't know where Fable is, and like I said, a lot of people feel like it's canceled, but Xbox don't want to say it's canceled because they know they're gonna get a lot of flack for it, because the studio that made Fable games, you closed them, and then a year or two later, like, yeah, we're gonna bring Fable back, and it's like, why did you just fire the whole studio that was known for that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you hand it off to a studio that makes racing games.
Oh.
They make racing games, and you told them, hey, make me an open world choice based RPG. And for whatever reason, they were just like, yeah, sure, we can do that, sir. Because if I was on the board of directors or any of the head persons of that company, I've been like, hey, you want me to do what? That's another talk for another day. Where is Fable? I could give at least 40 minutes.
Yeah, like, and it's crazy because in the last episode, I said this earlier too. I was like, they ain't working on fucking Metroid, blah 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 blah. And then in the direct, like the next week, it makes me look like shit because they do finally announce it. So maybe if I talk enough shit about Fable, the next Fable, that it will get announced like the Metroid and Nintendo did me. So I'm gonna continue to talk shit and say where the fuck is Fable until I get my fucking Fable announcement. So yeah, I think Ghost will be fine. Will it sell just as good as the first one? Probably not.
Probably
And
not.
but I hope it does, cause like I said, I think the studio did a very good job with the first one. They didn't nickel and dime you on the legend mode, and it was free, and it caught everybody off guard. It was such a breath of fresh air at the time too, because like I said, the world was crazy, it was in shutdown. So I do think this studio needs to be awarded. I'm starting to question, is the noise actually just overstated versus real life outcome?
So
People complain about playing as a female, but yet if the game does sell better than the first one, is the noise just overstated versus the actual
So
people?
I can say definitively that a lot of people's issue with Yotei and the female thing, the female character in the game is based off of a real life female who
Mhm.
has contra opinions on certain topics of current day life right now that a lot of people don't agree with. And so and this the real life woman, she has tied herself to the character that she's making, and people, some people take their video games just a little bit too serious. This is a video game, this has nothing to do with your real life, etc. And some people feel like, oh well, why did you choose her to be the character based off of, and she thinks and feel this way, and it's like, okay, well, she can think and feel whatever way, it has nothing to do with you. I think
Mhm.
that is more the bigger the issue, is that the woman who plays the character, not necessarily a sense of, oh, it's a female character, because I'll give a great example. The Perfect Dark game that Microsoft was working on that they recently canceled.
Ugh.
That game is based off of a woman. The main character of that game is and always has been a woman, a red-headed woman, and no one felt, said, or complained anything when it was announced, when it was the gameplay showing off, anything. They only had issues to say when the game was canceled, and they spent like 5 years working on that, and then the studio closes and the game is gone. So that's it. So I think that is probably the more underlying issue, the real life entity that's tied to it, and not the fact of the woman. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I do remember that was some of the issues with, she made Twitter posts saying certain things, and she's just like, yeah, I'm the character, blah blah blah, and it's like, it's almost trolling in a sense. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I think that is more the bigger underlying problem, because you've had other games where it was a female protagonist. No one kind of complained, like that Returnal game that we we definitely got duped into buying, because if they would have said what the fuck that game was before it came out, I wouldn't have been like, hey, we should play. But that had a female character, and people enjoyed and played that game. It was a third person shooter, roguelike. The way they did the storytelling and the controls and everything like that, the weird two color eyes she had. I mean, it was a very interesting game. I'm trying to think of something else with a woman lead protagonist. I can't really think of. Oh well, no. I was gonna say Mass Effect, but the numbers came out for Mass Effect that male Shepard is way
Oh,
more used than
yeah, yeah,
female Shepard.
yeah, yeah.
That's why I said, like, yeah, I
I
backtracked
mean,
on
but
that one.
Shepard was just, he was just iconic, and we can have a whole
We
Mass
will.
Effect. But
We
yeah,
will.
the female Shepard, even look wise. Now I'm not even gonna get on that, but like it just looked like you was supposed to be the male Shepard, like.
Mhm.
Even creating your own looking character, just it like look wise, and you was just better off just going as the male shepherd because he just looked more prestige, more clean. Graphics around his face was a lot better. Yeah, you
Mhm.
can't even talk about Mass Effect. So I just want to ask this question because you said that the female character the female who the character is based on is ruffling all of his feathers. Should a studio suffer for that? Should a game suffer for that? Like she was probably contracted long before any of this stuff came out. Should the game suffer because of her views and her outlooks? Like I'm sure the
No,
developer is looking like, damn, shut up, bitch! Like we're trying to launch the fucking game. I mean,
I 100% agree with you, and my opinion is no. The game nor the studio should suffer because of the character that the game is based off of, the real life character, has whatever political or ideology views or whatnot. That has nothing to do with the game. You're playing the game to play the game. You're not playing the game because of what she thinks or feels about in real life. And that's why I was saying I feel people get too caught up in this stuff mixing reality and your escapism. Why? Why? That's just like no, I can't say that. Can't. How that's just like Ubisoft, Activision. We'll go with Activision. Activision and Ubisoft in recent years have had some controversies going on with how they have workplace culture going on,
mm-hmm,
with how they handle things, etc. Like that. Now, if you want to use the logic of like with the real life scenarios versus the gaming scenarios, then Call of Duty should have suffered every year. Warzone should have suffered, and every Assassin's Creed should bomb because of the company's work culture and how they do and handle things. But let's
mm-hmm.
be, let's keep it 100. Your average gamer, your average person in real life, I don't give a fuck what happens inside these corporations and these companies because I don't know them, they don't know me. I just want to play the good game. Okay, the girl that plays the character of Yotei, she feels this in that way above men and women. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm gonna play that
Yeah.
game and enjoy myself.
Yeah, and you make a good point because I honestly didn't know there was issues and controversy going on. So the average gamer probably
Yeah,
don't know about it. So and I'm sure the
yeah.
developer does everything in their power to try to cover up and hush hush as much as possible before the game comes
Mm-hmm.
out because it's just like, bitch, we are trying to release a game. Can you shut
Yep.
and I'm sure if the developer knew what they knew now, they'll make a different choice. But in this
Absolutely.
world, you cannot ask people certain things about their beliefs because that is a violation of their right. Like you cannot
Yes, it
ask
is.
them how they feel about X, Y, and Z. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to tell you where your moral compass should lie and this and that and the third. Listen, everybody, whatever you do in your own time, that's between you, yourself, and you. I just think that I just at the end of the day, I don't think the developer should suffer. I don't think the game sales should suffer because of an
Absolutely not.
individual's outlook. Because, like you said, everybody's has an opinion. They're entitled to their opinion. Ghosts, at the end of the day, should not suffer. I have high hopes for this release and this IP. Like all the game footage you're seeing or saw is from my own playthrough, and I still play Ghost One Legend modes right now. You can catch me online right now if you got the IP. Listen, we can run Nightmare right now. So that's how I feel about the IP in general, and hopefully I'll feel the same way about the sequel when it releases. And when it does release, we'll probably do a stream or something about it. Because it's gonna be exciting, and we have to reward these developers that bring out new IP. Like you said, it's not same copy and paste shit like Nintendo. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it does well at the end of the day.
Absolutely. One more thing to add on because you made me think about something with the outcry and everything. And I remember someone saying this recently and a while ago. Majority of this outcry or issues that people will sometimes have, whether it be with a developer, a studio, a game, a lot of times it's a very small minority who
Mm-hmm.
has this problem. They are just the loudest to complain of it. They're just very, very vocal. Like as you said, your average gamer or hardcore gamer, whatever you want to call them, etc., they probably don't give two shits about this. They're just like, hey man, I want to play a good game. I want to come home from my 9 to 5 and just relieve myself into a different world, be a samurai, unalive some people, have some fun, keep on going. This whole ideology and political thing, my whole thing is like, yo, I don't care what you think or how you feel. It ain't got nothing to do with me playing the game. But I have heard there are the loudest minority is the ones who you catch using the Twitters and the comment sections of a lot of stuff and etc. That's probably more likely of what's going on in a
Mm-hmm.
sense.
But
But you're
definitely let
absolutely
us
right.
Yeah, but definitely let us know if you plan to get the sequel, if you're excited about it, or if the controversy that's going on is going to keep you from buying it. Because I'll be very interested, or in if having a female lead is going to
Okay.
keep you from buying it. And I would want to know why. Because yeah, I do think that the outcry is just more inflated than what it actually is. Because I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure at the end of the day, it's not that big of an audience that's saying that how it's being
No,
portrayed.
absolutely not. I think that seems the end of that. Let's move on now to a hot piece in a sense. Do you think James Gunn DC will be a better product than Zack Snyder? I'm gonna take a lead and give a quick answer. No. Next.
Yo, listen, this question is being popped up because of course the latest reboot of Superman and everybody I guess is just on this Superman high. The answer is no for me. And I do honestly, and this is just a preference, and I know Zach gets a lot of flack about dusty little particles and dark theme and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He is more of my preferred director style over James Gunn, honestly. And maybe that makes me biased. I just know I personally like Zach's product more than James Gunn products that I've seen. And we can break it down by the numbers. Like I'll give James all the accolades I guess he has. This is a list of all the directed movies or major directed movies that he's had in his career. I don't know what Super is. I never saw that. Of course, we all know Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3. He did the
What the hell is
Suicide Squad in 2021. That was a reboot. And of course, he just did and released the Superman. And honestly, if you put all these products up against Zach's product, Zach is coming out on top.
Well, I can honestly say I enjoy both of their styles of work. I am a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I know it is
mm,
James Gunn who made them. I enjoy one, two
mhm,
was a little.
mm,
I've not seen 3 because once you disappoint me once, I'm skeptical of anything else you put out. But I did enjoy his work, but my thing that sells me on Zack, this is one of the reasons why, like I stated before, how DC could overtake Marvel. If they played into the dark, true grittiness of their IPs, of their story. That is how you will not beat Marvel at their own game. You have to do your own thing and let the numbers play out. The Snyderverse that he was originally working on and the story he was working up to was, in my opinion, it was pure genius. And the fact that he was trying to tell and do that in a motion picture was awesome. I was like, man, that because no one else is doing that. Everyone thinks and feels to make money, you need to do the family friendly approach like Marvel and etc. But the only reason Marvel does it is because they're owned by Disney, and that's
yeah.
Disney's approach. There
Mhm.
are tons of movies that have been successes that did not do the family friendly approach because the Joker movie, Joaquin Phoenix, that's a DC movie. It made over $1 billion. It was dark. It was gritty. It showed a true different
Yeah,
side
it was
of a
fucked up.
DC character that we all know and love, and it was amazing. If they play into that, they'll be great. I don't know why DC has the notion that if we make an R-rated game, it won't sell. Who told you that? Do you think all R-rated movies didn't make any movie? You think the Terminators didn't make movies? I gotta think about that because I don't know if they're all R-rated, but that's the first thing that came to mind. Me personally, I feel James Gunn is playing a safe, soft, by the numbers game, which is fine.
Yeah, I was just about to say all these things you're pointing out about how DC can be great is literally the total opposite of James Gunn's products. Garden, like there is no, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't seen Super. I didn't feel. I mean, his Suicide Squad was it dark? I don't know, but I just feel like he's more on the lighter side. And I do love like I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 was one of Marvel's best.
Oh yeah, the intro movie.
Yeah, the intro movie, like the introduction, like, hey, this is us. Like it's
Hmm.
definitely top 3, top 5 of all all the Marvel movies because some of them, ooh, some of those introduction movies like Captain America was straight shit.
Hold on,
Okay,
hold on, hold on,
so
hold on. It's another topic for another day. We gonna get into
yeah,
that.
but I just preface Marvel does not put out good products when it's their first the character's first movie. You know, they usually have to get in some I don't know what, but like they have to team up, then come back and do their own movie to be better or great. Yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. I did not like Volume 2 and Volume 3 was it just seems like a mush of like trying to tie up all these loose ends and it didn't even tie all the loose ends at the end and I was confused. I'm like, so is that where we're leaving it? Like, yeah, James and it's just a preference. Like I said, James Gunn is just not he's just not my number one or not a director that I'm tied to. Not to say that I'm just this movie critic or connoisseur, but I just know what I like and Zach is more close to what I prefer to see on a screen personally. And let me just go into because this is James numbers. Let me just show this is a list of some of his major work. And I didn't even realize, but I've seen a bunch of his stuff. Like I was like, dang, he made 300, he made Watchmen, The Legends
Oh,
of the
classic.
uh
Great movies, especially
yeah,
The
like
Watchmen. That
yeah,
was a very fucked up movie.
yes, but Chef's it was done so fucking good. Like
So good. He made Sucker Punch, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but that movie, as great as it is also very fucked up. If you read between the lines of the reality segments versus the fantasy shit, great fucking movie.
yeah, like and I guess it's because James Gunn like tries to pull on a lot of sarcasm, humor, like type feelings where Snyder be like, "Hey, if you got dark humor, oh, this is for you." And I'm more of a dark humor. Like I will pop off randomly and say some fucked up shit, but it'll be like, "Hey, just real life like that like it not to call me a like a Debbie Downer, but that's just what it is. And I just feel like Snyder feeds into my dark humor more. And a lot of his shit, like it just fills my heart with happiness. And that's not to say he can't do non-dark stuff, because Man of Steel, it doesn't have that dark feeling, but I mean, it has a story, it tells a story of a very understanding, hey, this guy is trying to repopulate and replenish his people, and he's willing to kill a whole fucking planet to do it. And you got this other guy, like, they had their time. It's over with. So I'm not gonna allow you to do that. And it might, I guess people can say that's a dark tone of a story. The movie ain't dark. Like I know people
It's
complain
not.
about Snyder's films being literally too dark. Like visually too dark. And Man of Steel is not dark. So yeah, I don't think James Gunn's DC is going to and even not just off the potential, like Snyder's DC universe, like you said, he was setting it up, and I thought it was, and I really thought the studio wasn't gonna just drop Snyder and his whole vision because it just had such a great and I think if he was allowed to do the things that he wanted to do and he was given, and this I think is another issue, the whole relationship with DC and Snyder is that they just was trying to rush the shit. You gotta let shit breathe. You guys have shit, give certain stuff time to develop. Like Marvel and the phases wasn't done overnight. Like shit took years to get from Iron Man to Endgame. Like they should just gave that man the time he needed. And like I said in the last video, he was going through some family things when that whole Justice League movie was launching, and he had to step away, and it brought in another guy, and it was just a fucking mess. And when he was given the a bit the space to actually make the movie how it was always intended to fucking be, it was fucking great. Like I loved it. I was like, damn, when that shit released on HBO Max, I'm like, so why are you walking away from this man? Like, cause like I didn't get it. So I don't have very high hopes for James Gunn's DC universe, and I could be totally wrong. Like he could maybe he could go R-rated and dark, and I just don't see it though. I don't.
So to add on what you were saying, I believe people feel Zack Snyder, his films are dark. Maybe not even just always dark as far as visually, but maybe more in tone. And he's not afraid to have somebody get unalived in his films.
Oh yeah.
Whereas
Oh, he
James,
would take a mofo out.
yeah, yeah, whereas James Gunn is, lighthearted. Even if it's a horror, there's some comedy, probably some little slapstick Han and went on there, which is probably why Disney went to him and had him make Guardians of the Galaxy. Because they're like, okay, this guy's about funny. We like funny, a little spice of funny here and there. And the Marvel
Hmm.
movies did do that. They were telling stories, and for every 2 or 3 serious moments, you had a nice palate cleanser of, a nice comic relief, a joke here or there, Tony Stark making a little quip or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why they optioned him. And now his whole thing is, well, DC was all over the place and they didn't have a cohesive vision, and he wants to play it safe. Like I said, he wants to stick to the comics. He wants a unified approach. If you play this character in one form of entertainment, you're going to play that character in another. So if you played him, the guy who played Superman in his latest movie, they ever do anything with Superman again, whether it be a show or whatever, he's going to have that same guy do that to keep the confusion and to keep it all to trim the fat in a sense, to keep it
Hmm.
all smooth and one easy entertainment ride. Whereas Zack Snyder was like, hey man, I'm about to show you some shit. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway. And he showed you some shit. Like I know good and well. I will stress this. I am not a Superman fan. I hate
Mm-mm.
Superman. I think he is one of the most overrated characters,
Overrated. Yes.
over
Him and Captain
overhyped,
America.
just ungodly. How people just be like, oh, he can do anything. He can do everything. But that Man of Steel movie,
Oh
that
God.
movie had me literally sitting here like, yo, fuck him up. When that world engine was turning on and messing up shit, and he was fighting the Kryptonians, and they were laying his ass out. They were like, yo, you
Ooh.
hit like one of us, bro. You don't fight like one of us.
Yo.
We're gonna fuck you up. You
And
spandex
Zai
wearing
was up
blueberry
there
looking motherfucker.
fighting. Zai was up there fighting and adapting to all the shit that it took Superman so long to get accustomed to. He was doing it in the matter of minutes. Like, oh, what is all this noise? I was like, yo, he really is. He was born to fight. Whereas Superman is not a natural born fighter warrior. He was like, what
No.
was he? He was like a pure birth person and not engineered, blah, 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 blah. Like, listen, go watch the
Hmm.
movie. You haven't watched the movie. Man, and it's so criminal that Zack never made a sequel to Man of Steel. It's very criminal. I feel like as an audience, we was robbed of just
Oh
greatness.
yeah, his appearances in Batman v Superman and all that other stuff. I always wonder, like, yo, where is Man of Steel 2? I
Hmm.
really wanted to see what he could do next. And before you knew it, 10 years had gone by, and it was
Ugh.
just like, oh, that was a very, very big opportunity wasted. Zack Snyder again, 300. Oh my dude, I remember us getting out of school, and we would always rewatch that movie. Even if
Hmm.
he was just playing in the background. It was an amazing movie. And don't get me started. I ain't gonna lie. Not Dawn of the Dead. Army of Thieves, the Netflix movie he did, the zombie movie. That was a
Hmm.
good fuck.
Hmm.
Now I know the zombie trope is very well overplayed and it had its time. People have moved on, but I will always be a lover of things zombie. Zombie movies and zombie video games are my comfort food. I'm having a bad day. I'm irritated. I just want to just turn my brain off and whatnot. Hey, I could watch a zombie movie or I could play a zombie game in any way, shape, or form. Just sit up there and just yeah, ooh, it was wonderful.
Yeah, I really
It was
did like
wonderful.
the Army of Dead and the fact that it was a
Army of the Dead.
Netflix.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's the name of it.
yeah,
Army of the
yeah.
Dead. And then now you go to James Gunn, you can tell what his approach is. His approach is more, I don't want to say it's more of like an HR representative, but I'm here to entertain you,
Look,
but it's gonna be contained. We're
No,
not gonna push
no,
the envelope. We're not gonna push boundaries. We're gonna keep this, finite. A few knee slappers, and then you go on your merry way.
no. So it's funny you say that because, like, to reference what you're saying, like James Gunn on an application, you know how on job application it'd be like, "Are you African American?" And then the other applications it'd be like, "Are you black?" James
Yes,
Gunn is the African
it's
American box,
African
and
American.
Zach is the
Yes,
black box.
yes. And then even as far as their vision, when the Snyder cut of Justice League came out, me and you watched it. We both loved it.
Mhm.
I don't understand how DC allowed Josh Whedon to take what
Ugh.
Snyder was working on and completely just it into what it was. Cause still to this day, I have not seen the Josh Whedon Justice League. I every time I get up to around 30-ish minutes of it,
Ugh.
I can't take this. I turn it off. I fall asleep. I switch movies. I do something. Now the Snyder cut, I've watched that 7 times from beginning to end, all 4 hours, 7 times. Have I put it on many times in the background? You bet your ass I have. It's a great thing to put on. Great to put it on to go to sleep. But that movie, in so many angles, it not only told a story, but it also gave background to the story. And one of the great rules of storytelling: show me, don't tell me. And he did it good. And his Steppenwolf
Oh
leagues,
my
leagues better
god. That
than that Josh
Steppenwolf.
Whedon.
Oh my god.
That
Listen,
Josh Whedon Steppenwolf looked like a Funko Pop.
listen, Justice League, because I went to the movie theaters with my ex. I'll never forget. I bought the tickets and I was like, yeah,
God
it's gonna
bless
be
you.
this is gonna be great. We watched that bullshit. I was like, who the fuck made this? Cause I didn't even know at the time Zach had, excused himself. He was going through so much with his family at the time, and the studio was like, fuck you.
Yep.
We need to push this product out. And
Yep.
I had to look up who the fuck directed it after Zach when I found out that he left. And I was like, who the fuck is this Sweeten guy? And I didn't even realize he had made the Avengers movie. And I was like, I love the Avengers movie. So what is the fuck is this? And I didn't realize he was just slapping on makeup on a fucking product that he had no control over from the get-go. So you up here
Yes.
trying, it's basically someone in class, you started a homework assignment and you find it on the ground, you pick it up and you're trying to fucking do the rest of it. It's not gonna be cohesive, dumbass.
Absolutely. He tried to bring the way how he did Avengers, the lightheartedness, the shenanigans, and etc. with Marvel. He tried to go and put that into DC because there've been reports that when he took over, he did
Of
tons of
reshoots. Mm-hmm.
change it and everything. And my whole thing is you were there to take the end product to the finish line and get it done, not to remake it into whatever you tried to do and call it your own, because that incident was his downfall.
Mm-hmm.
I
I ain't
believe
heard nothing
after
since
that,
from him since.
yeah, there was that he did that. Then people started complaining of his choices on how he directs and do business, and then certain people made complaints about how he talked and treated and did them during that movie and something else, and then he eventually got
Yeah,
blackballed.
I remember that.
He won't be doing anything. And I was just like, well, one, I felt some type of way that DC did Zack Snyder the way they did because of what he was going through. But for you, as a fellow director, another brother in the craft, to not only just accept the job, but to take his work and twist it for your own being instead of just finishing it up and be like, all right, I finished this up, I touched this up. They brought me in to finish it. I know you're going through a lot. I got it across the finish line. But no, you chose to, I'm gonna turn this into my own. That's not what you were hired for. And DC let him do it. They allowed
Yeah,
him to do it.
cause
And
baby,
it failed.
at the cutting floor, I would have saw Sweeten's version, and I would have been, if I was an executive at DC, I would say we cannot release this. This is unreleasable. What the fuck is this? Yeah, I would have
I'm
looked
sure
around the table
someone
like,
took it
you think
as
we gonna put this out, and I'm gonna put my name? You got me fucked up. We gonna wait for Zach to get done and get through whatever he need to get through, cause we're not releasing this bullshit. What the fuck?
I'm sure someone took it as, hey, he's worked on the Avenger movies. You see how much those movies are doing? You see how much money those movies make? I'm sure we can do that. And someone was like, yeah, yeah. And they probably saw it and was like, yo, what the hell is this? Hey, Remember, he did the Avengers. He made Disney so much money. Hey, you're right. He gotta know what he's doing. And then the shit came out. It was like, yo, what the fuck? Hey, who approved this?
Yeah, it was so
Yeah,
bad.
wholeheartedly and truly. But
Yeah,
that's my. I don't
and
believe Gunn will top Snyder.
no, no, and I was very shocked when I pulled up these numbers. You know, these are their box office performances. I didn't even realize Zach is more commercially a moneymaker than James Gunn, and that's considered that James Gunn did 3 Marvel movies. Like, even though Batman vs Superman, it wasn't the best movie, it's Zach's most grossing movie, and James Gunn doesn't have a movie that goes over that. And the fact that by the numbers, the 300 movie is Zach's most well financially performing movie, because the production of the 300 movie was like 60 million. And that's another thing about Zach movies. His productions, and then keep in mind too, I guess the time of these movies when they released, the production cost was lower. His money that's made after production is higher than James Gunn's. And a lot of people, I seen a lot of memes about the Superman, them comparing the box numbers, and they was like, yeah, I mean, James Gunn's Superman made 600 million, but that because the average ticket price is $18, whereas Zach's average ticket price was 8. So it's just funny how, like, and it's probably not fair to James Gunn, but he's always going to be compared to Zach just because, you know, he's coming in and trying to reboot a whole universe after Zach and after his vision. And I didn't even realize they worked together. Like, Dawn of the Dead, they worked together. Like, I think James wrote it and Zach directed it. So it's not like they don't know each other, but it's just curious. I wonder if they ever have a conversation about just the dynamic of, hey, bitch, you're coming after me. And at the end of the day, you're not going to put out a better product than what I was trying to do. So good luck. You know how, like, friends talk shit about each other? Like, I wonder
No,
if that's ever been a conversation. But yeah, I agree. The answer is no. But do I have hope that James Gunn could probably prove me
I have
wrong?
hope.
I hope. I wish him all the best, but like I said, you gonna have to work for my $20. Yeah, I
So
don't.
the best thing I can say or example I can give for a glimmer of hope is Creature Commandos, the animated show on HBO Max. It has its inappropriate humor at times, and that's made
Mhm.
by James Gunn. That's made by James Gunn. I don't know who the hell Creature Commandos are or where they are in the DC realm or universe and whatnot, but he did make it. It was interesting. I was like, okay, I see you. He is very gung ho to sticking to the comics. And I see why and where he's trying to go with that, because it was the comic fans and the people and the lover of comics that propelled these characters to where they are, that they are even allowed to be to make the movie. So if
Mhm.
you hit them, you gonna make some money, aka in a sense nostalgia. His whole thing of going about it. Hey, I get it. I get it, because who would not want a quote unquote lore accurate Superman? Who would not want a more run by the numbers Batman sitting here beating the shit out of a criminal that you're questioning? Did he just unalive that guy? He's not moving. I get that, because comic books went through their gold, their silver, their bronze age. You have lovers of the modern day, modern lovers of the resets, the new 52, all across the board. So you go by the comic numbers, hey, you'll definitely get your audience, and I get that. And in doing so, you have a infinite source material to go to, rather than trying to make up something on your own, and you got somebody ranting and raving on Twitter why they won't go see your movie because you added this to it, and that ain't lore accurate.
Yeah, and
If I had to answer the question,
that's why I said that I could see DC overtaking Marvel fan satisfaction, is because he's following the comics so closely. So, and that's why I said they could overtake Marvel's fan satisfactory. But as far as money wise, no. And just comparing their numbers, that kind of proves me right. Like, I'm printing money machine. Even when he was with Marvel, none of his movies went $1 billion mark. Marvel has several billion dollar movies, but he could make a lot of people happy following the comics. I mean, then but that's always a slippery slope, just because which comic version are you going to follow? Are you going to follow the OG? But because there's so many versions of Superman and different
That is
versions
true.
of comics. So like you even doing that, you're not gonna satisfy everybody. So you gotta come back and follow on something else. Yeah, but my answer is still no. No, the
Absolutely.
James Gunn is not outdoing Zach.
Absolutely. Moving on. Is streaming killing movies box office performance? I can answer this like I answered the last one. Yes. uh I can answer this truthfully and I can back it up with some hardcore fact. Yes, streaming service is killing movies box office, but at the same time I will say they did it to themselves. And I'll give a clear example. The Robert Pattinson Batman movie, and when it was advertised that it will be in theaters. I think it was 45 days before it would hit the streaming service. Now, during the C word, when the world was, falling apart, the pandemic was going on and everything, any movie that had planned to be come out or whatnot, it did not hit movie theaters because you couldn't have people sitting close to each other like that. So every
Mm-hmm.
movie got released on streaming services. And then when the world started to open back up, and movie theaters were one of them, they released movies day and date, streaming services and in the movie theaters, but they did not take into account people have become comfortable watching this from the luxury of their home, their couch, their in-home theater, whatever the hell they got at home, in their underwear, their onesie, whatever the case is. And so now the world's on back up, and you like, okay, you come back to the movies now. Why would I do that? Yeah, I gotta drive there, probably pay for parking, buy the ticket, overly expensive watered down drinks, overly expensive food. I could just order a pizza and do that at home. And so then they saw the numbers going down, and they're like, all right, we need to put a limit on this. That's why every movie that comes out now, it says only in theaters. Even though that's not true, in about a few weeks it will be on streaming services, but they won't say that. They're trying to go to the movies, but it's a little too late, because that, like I said, that Robert Pattinson Batman, I went to theaters to go see that, but I do know lots of people who are like, hey, I'll just wait the 45 days and watch it from home. People are comfortable, just as we have all became too comfortable but with other aspects of the end results of the pandemic. Too many groceries did not go down. Things opened back up, etc. Ammo is still expensively high because of when everyone was rushing to buy it. Now it's plentiful as it was beforehand, but hey, the price ain't went down. It's like, well, why are we gonna lower the price? You were comfortable paying for it. So yes, streaming services, it is killing movies, but you all did that, like I said, to yourselves, because you needed to make, you weren't getting people in the theater. So you partnered with HBO, Stars, or whoever the case was, and was like, hey, you're gonna pay us X amount of money and we'll give you this film. But now you want the audience back, and they're just like, why should I come back? I like being at home. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I kind of broke this down in the last episode. Baby, you're gonna have to work for my $20. And the fact that going to the movie theaters is such a inconvenience, like you gotta get in your car, you gotta get dressed, you gotta buy probably multiple tickets for you, your kid, your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You done spent about $50 just to get through the door. Then you gotta feed motherfuckers. So it's such an inconvenience when you could just wait 4, 5, 6 weeks and it'll be on some type of service that you already spending $20 on. Like I said, when you compare it, when you and somebody go, you probably spent $50 to get through the door, another $20 on not so good food. You spend almost $70, $80 when you could just wait and you already spending $20 on a service, and you can watch as many times as you want to with you and whoever's at your house. So when you compare the convenience of just waiting for it to come to streaming service versus going to the movies, it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle to get me to the movie theaters in 2025. And I understand the economics behind movies. Like studios make 90% of their money from the movie theater. They got a partnership with movie theaters. They get a certain amount of money from each ticket sale and whatever else they contract. And once it hit DVD, they're not making money off that. Not as much as when it's in the movie theater, and that's very unfortunate because baby, like I said, it's an uphill battle to get me to spend $20 to come. And that's just me. Don't let me have to bring somebody with me, or like bring my 10-year-old nephew with me and he wants to eat and do all this other shit. It's just like, nah, baby, we can watch Demon Slayer when it comes out on streaming service. It's cool. Like, and it's an uphill battle for movie theater. And I'm not saying like that's for everybody, because some people, they look for any excuse to get out the house and take their kids somewhere, and they take a nap in the movie theater while their kid is actually watching the movie, and they're just doing it just to get a break from everyday life. But not everybody's like that. Most people are paying $20 for Netflix, $20 for Hulu, $20 for this and this and this. And so, baby, they trying to get their streaming service money worth it. They're not looking to go to the movie theaters and spend another $50, $70. So it's just the change of landscape and the economy, and just like how live service is going out, movie box office performances are going down. Like, it's just the pandemic made it just showed audience, hey, I can do this from the comfort of my home. And that's why everybody is mandating all these people to come back in the office, because they ain't got too comfortable working from home. Like, once you give people just a taste, simplicity, they ain't gonna want to go back to being inconvenienced. Like, it's just no. So it's unfortunate, not unfortunate. I don't know. It just, I guess if you're a owner of a studio, it's probably unfortunate. But as a consumer, it's probably fortunate, because like the Marvel movie, what was that, the Thunderbolts or whatever, that underperformed, baby. I was never gonna go to the movies for that. I was always gonna wait for it to hit Disney Plus. Like, I was never going to watch that in movie theaters. And it's, unfortunately, it's a lot of Marvel movies where I'm saying that about. It just so happened that I was at the movie theaters for Fantastic Four, because I was out and about, and we was like, oh, let's go watch a movie. Honestly, I probably wouldn't watch that in movies. I would have waited for that to hit Disney Plus too. So, outlook, I guess, of the environment we're in right now, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. And that's just my take. But definitely let me know in the comments below, how do you feel? Are you a streamer, or do you go out of your way to spend that $20 to go to the movie theaters? I'll be very interested in the comment section where everybody
$20.
else is.
I agree with you. Here, in some places, a ticket for the movies can be almost $30.
Yeah.
And that's before the overpriced popcorn, the alcoholic
Stay
drink that
up.
I need to help
Yeah.
relax me, and everything else. Yeah. But
When
like I
was
said, they did this
the
good.
when was the last movie? What is the last movie you saw in movie theaters?
The Flash, that Flash movie with Batman and all them and whatnot.
No fucking way. You
Yeah.
no, you've been to the movie theater since then. You know how old that is? No, I don't
I
been.
yeah,
No.
that was the last movie I saw, and I remember how I felt about it because I was truly pissed because every one of my family that we went to go see it, we all fell asleep.
Oh, oh, that's another thing about being in that dark
No.
room.
Yeah, we I ain't gonna lie, I had 3 drinks, so that was probably a bad problem to sit there and knock back them drinks, eat food, and get relaxed. So that was a problem. But we all fell asleep, and then we all woke up at the same scene when it was ending. We all were like, "What's happening? What's going on? Who's he fighting? Why is he fighting? What are they talking about?" And then the movie ended, and when they came to HBO Max, I was like, "Hey, we want to watch that?" And we all were like, "No, we good." And I was like, "Yeah, that was the last." That was the last movie I saw in theaters. Now I've seen tons of movies that have come
Mm-hmm.
out. I have a website that I watch them on now. I don't go to the movie theaters. The new movie, the new Conjuring movie. I think it was the Last Rites. I will go to the theaters and see that. That tickles my fancy, ruffles my feathers, all that jazz.
And that
But
movie is
that was the
actually
last
doing
movie.
good, money wise. It's
Yeah,
projected to be the most money making or grossing Conjuring movie in the franchise.
that's what I'm talking about.
Uh,
So,
but yeah, but
well,
now I'm trying to think. Like, so I definitely went to see the Fantastic Four, and before that I went to see Sinners. And yeah, it's been years since before Sinners. It's been multiple years. I think 2 years before since I've been in the movie theaters before going to see Sinners, and I can't even remember before what I went to see Sinners. No, I take that back. So the last movie I've seen was F1. the Apple racing movie with Brad Pitt, and Fantastic Four before that, and Sinners before that. So I've seen 3 movies this year in the movie theater, and it wasn't planned. It was like some last minute. Well, Sinners was planned, of course. Watching that Apple movie and Fantastic Four, it was just like, oh, it's a movie theater in the mall. Let's just go ahead and watch a movie. That's very shocking. The Flash is the last movie you went to see in the movie theater.
Because I was told about this certain website from a certain person that just has everything. Hell, sometimes before the movie even officially comes out in theaters, it's on that website. And we're not
Oh.
talking about like the weird, cheap, grainy little footage where it's like, oh, like what is it, standard definition? No, they be high
Mm.
quality stuff. So I was like, I got a lot of stuff going on now between work, family, and everything and whatnot like that. So I just be like, hey, I get to watch it for free. And then if I'm really feeling some type of way, I would just mirror it from my phone to the
Mm-hmm.
TV I have in my home theater, and then like, who want popcorn? So you want to fall asleep? Oh, you won't? Hey, go right ahead. That's really about it. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm part of the problem too. What I need to go to the movies for? When eventually it's gonna be on streaming service. That's just like I don't see a point in ever going to go see another Disney movie again. Well, one, the last few have disappointed me, but I'm like, why? It's gonna be on Disney Plus in like a month. Just like the new Thunderbolts is that came out, and I was very interested to see that, and I was like, why would I go waste money and my time on this when it'll be on Disney Plus soon, just like everything else. And I just
Yeah,
wait.
I think
Like
that's why so many Marvel movies are under. Well, it's not the only reason why, but I think it's part of the reason. It's just like everybody know they can wait, and it's gonna
oh
be
yeah.
yeah. Like I think that's part of the problem too with them like not making as much money as they was pre the little epidemic.
That's just like everyone was such in a uproar about the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. Oh my god, it's this, it's that. And oh my god, it's coming out. This is gonna make another Deadpool. They're gonna stay true to the lore, they're gonna PG-13 it. And it came out, everybody had mixed opinions, and it was like, Infamous. Infamous, you gonna go see it? Yeah, when it comes on Disney Plus. I was like, what? What do you mean? When it comes on Disney Plus. Why would I go pay money to go see that? And I'm paying for Disney Plus already. When it comes, and I did watch it. It came on Disney Plus, and I watched it. It's very interesting. Yeah, that's about it. And now we're gonna wrap the show up with our good old famous tech talk. Take it away, Treese.
Yeah, so just like Nintendo was a very snooze fest and underwhelming event, this Apple event we'll quickly run down. We ain't even got to spend that much time. First announcement they did was new AirPods Pro 3, and this is some re-engineered AirPods. They got new fittings, well 5 different fittings where I think before it was so it's supposed to give better noise cancellation, and they also improve the battery life. So it's up to 8 hours of active noise canceling, and that's very good for the in-ear AirPods, because this is one of the reasons why I stopped with the in-ear AirPods and went to the Maxes, because I was on long flight that were like 6, 8 hours, and I'm like, yo, my headphones are not surviving the flight. And that's one of the reasons why I went to the Max. And now it's funny where they said in the event, like, hey, you can go on long flights with one charge of the AirPods. And I thought that was very funny, because I guess they got a lot of complaints from people being on long flights and the AirPods not surviving the length of the flight. So that was a big announcement. They also have live translation. So if you and somebody else has AirPods on and y'all both speak different languages, it will actually translate while y'all talking to each other. And even if somebody, like if I only speak English and was listening to somebody speak Spanish, the AirPods actually translate. And when you speak back, even though you're speaking English, it converts your English into Spanish and it will display on the phone. So I thought that was a very interesting tidbit, but apparently this is not new. Samsung has already done this before. And another thing that was part of this new AirPods Pro is the fact that they have a heart sensor. And so while you're working out while wearing the AirPods, it can track your heart rate. And I still don't understand how it does this. I guess because of the new fittings, it more compressed against your ear or something to that effect or whatever. But yeah, that is pretty much a quick roundup of the new AirPods Pro. Like I said, I am not a AirPods Pro client anymore, I guess you could say. Until they give a upgrade or update for the AirPod Maxes, I won't be getting another Apple headphone cuz I just cannot go back to in-ear. I had the AirPod Pros 1 and 2. It was just so uncomfortable. Like I said, I was on flights for 8 hours plus, so it became uncomfortable, and that's part of the reason why they redesigned the fittings is because they was getting complaints that this hurts my ear after a certain amount of time. So, but that's the AirPod Pros. Let's get into the next product. Apple Watch
Hey,
Series
I don't
11.
mean I
Oh.
don't mean to cut you off, but that is so true. That little thing in your ear after so long, it will hurt your ear. And I do
Oh
remember
god, yes.
having that. Like it used to bother me there to the point I would only put in one just so
Mhm.
I wouldn't have both ears. So I would rotate. All right, this one starts hurting. I would switch ears and be like, all right, put this one in. I don't know why that was, but is that heart rate sensor thing supposed to be a selling feature?
Yeah,
Are
listen, anything that's on the summary page is a quote unquote selling feature. And it's very and it's funny because they bring up the fact that I think they said 13 million people have an elevated heart rate without knowing it, and it's a silent unalive thing that affects so many people. And so yeah, for if you're in America, you probably need something to track your heart rate because you probably don't realize you have hypertension or elevated heart rate. Yeah, that is a feature. And like I said, Apple is very in tune with the health system in America. Like not in America, but just in globally. But I feel like their American clientele benefits the most because it's just a very unhealthy country. I mean, obesity rates and all that is self-explanatory, but yeah, it's a feature. If it's on this chart, it's a quote unquote selling feature. And another thing too that was part of this upgrade is the fact that it is dust and water resistance. And this is a thing an issue with AirPods Maxes. It is not waterproof. I actually messed up my Maxes because I was outside running and it started raining and I was like a mile away from my house. So I'm like, I have to run back in the rain and now I have a humming noise in my Maxes. But it's them are $5 headphones. So I'm gonna use them until the wheels fall off. So but yeah, that is all the new features with the AirPod Pros. You got anything else you wanna say?
No, not really. I ain't the demographic for this.
Yeah.
You are my go-to Apple person. You had Maxes, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. I ain't even gonna spend no money on no headphone. And then I can't remember it was one day I was just like, yo, this is mediocre. These sticking these things in my ear. If I'm running or working out, I'm sweating. They're sliding out. It
Oh
hurts.
yes. That was another
It was
issue.
it was just the most, and then I went and got the Maxes, and the moment it slid over my ears, it was like a air cushion of just, let me take care of you. Would you like a phone call or you want music? And I was just, and it's beautiful. The only issue I had with Maxes is you fumbling with them too hard, the little cushion piece falls out, but a quick dust
Yeah.
through, right back in. But no, I ain't got nothing else on these things, AirPods, whatever, one like that. We can move on to the next piece.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say this: Apple, update the fucking Maxes because if anything needs waterproofing, it's definitely the Maxes. I mean, what are we doing? And yeah, that's all I gotta say with headphones. And I can understand why AirPod Pros is probably the more priority. Like we talked with our friend, AirPod Pros is the number one selling headphones on the market. But I just believe you can't expect somebody to spend $550 on a headphone. The pros are $140, so it's more entry level friendly. So I don't give a damn if this is the number one selling headphone. Update the fucking Maxes, bruh.
Look here,
And that's
look here, look here, look here. You are talking about a company that
I
put out the
know.
Vision Pro and then put out the regular Vision first and just assume, yeah, you guys are all gonna buy it.
Listen,
Why?
listen. Listen, I think the company like designed the Vision Pro knowing there was never going to be a regular light version of the Vision Pro. But that's neither here or there. Like we can keep running through this word salad of a press conference that they did. Next item that they announced was the Apple Watch Series 11 and yeah, just the 11. I mean, it's got 5G, some type of workout buddy, better battery life. And a lot of this stuff was already there. The ECG. I mean, I could have sworn that was already a thing. But yeah, we can next item they announced was the Apple Watch SE. Once again, 5G, quote unquote, fast charging and more crack resistance. Yeah, okay. Next item, the Ultra. This is where I do come into the conversation because I have currently the Apple Watch Ultra 1 and it's the tan little thing that you see right here. And now the Ultra 3 has a 42-hour battery life. It comes in black and it's still the 5G,
Oh,
the workout
oh,
buddy, and it's a larger display because they trimmed the little edges
so
like I said in the leaks, it does have that little satellite communication feature, which I probably never have to use in my entire life unless I'm just in the middle of nowhere. They do feature sleep score, which is just them tracking, which was already a thing. I just want to say this: I don't really sleep with my Ultra just because it is such a hunk of a thing. But every now and then, I do fall asleep with it on, and I do get the little sleep score, not sleep score, but it tells you how much time you spend in REM and light sleep and deep sleep, and
mhm.
it just more confirms that I do have sleep apnea. So I will be curious to see what my sleep score is because I am diagnosed with sleep apnea. So that's just a little curiosity feature that I am curious about. But did pre-order this just because I want a black watch and the 42 hour battery life is just yeah, I'm just being greedy with battery life. If I can go longer without charging something, then that's what I'm going to want. Okay. But yeah, that just wraps up everything. It's not that much different if you have an Ultra 2. Our friend has an Ultra 2 and he said he sees not enough to upgrade to the 3. But going from a 1 to a 3 probably makes more sense, like in my case. But that is the Ultra and all the features. You have an Ultra 1, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna let you finish, going through everything. I have an Ultra One, and everything you said in this word salad, I'm like, Ooh, 42-hour battery, bigger display, black, sold, 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 sold.
It just
Once
speaks your
again, people,
language.
I'm part of the problem, but I will admit it. Yes, all of this. And it's funny you say that because I sleep with my Ultra on because
Mm.
I want all my stuff with the sleeping and etc. and all that. And it makes it easier for me to just get up, check
Oh
my
yeah.
phone, check my watch, see what's going on. Oh, the battery is fine. Okay, well, we're gonna get up and go. Oh, the battery's not fine. It goes on the charger. And once I'm done showering, getting ready for my day, pick it back up. Oh, fully charged. And we'll charge this again 5 more days from now. Because
Mhm.
that's the about the length of time I get on my Ultra. I get at least 5 days. Oh, excuse me.
Damn.
Battery.
Damn.
Well, 4 to 5 days now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, if you get 45 days now, I can only imagine if you upgrade.
So the reason how I get that with mine, I turn everything off. I turn cellular off. I turn
Ah,
Wi-Fi off.
yeah.
I turn everything off. The only thing that's on is Bluetooth. That's the only thing that stays on. And if I turn Bluetooth off, I can get five or some change, keeping the Bluetooth on so that it just easily syncs up my phone when I come out of work or whatever I'm doing. I get 4 to 5 days depending on what's going on. I also do not have the always on display. It's black. It does not tell me or show me
Okay,
anything.
yeah.
That's another thing that I help to trim the fat because without that, I mean, you turn all that shit on, you got like maybe a day and a half. I'm like, why? I don't need all that. I'm not constantly looking down at my phone, and I don't need some random person just looking at my watch to see what time it is,
Ooh.
whatever. Like, no,
Ooh. Yeah, that was a thing I ran into in my Ultra just because it had such a big screen. I was getting certain notifications, and a nosy motherfucker was just, next to me, and they was like, "Oh, you got such and such," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" He was like, "Yeah, I saw it pop up on your watch," and I was like, "Oh, turning that shit off." Look,
Yep.
I'm a person where I don't want you knowing certain things unless I say it, and if I don't say it, I don't expect you to know that. So yeah, but
Yep. Especially a random person just, oh, I was just looking at your watch. Why are you looking at me? Why are you
yeah,
looking at my
like
hand?
nosy motherfucker. Yeah, this update though that you mentioned that you turn all that it's supposed to be with the software that's coming with it. It's supposed to be optimized, kind of automatically do that. It turns unnecessary stuff off. Probably not as good as
Sure.
just going in there and turning
Yeah,
it off,
doing it
but
yourself.
yeah, but that's why that 1 hertz always on refresh rate is in that corner because it's supposed to optimize the battery. It's supposed to prioritize battery life over unnecessary things where the watch knows you're not using. I'm really curious to see if you upgrade how long you can go on a charge because you're getting 4 days now. You probably can go a week and a half with this new one, maybe possibly.
I
That
hope so.
yeah.
I truly hope so. Cause like I said, every bullet point you just made, I'm like, so, in my mind, I'm like, sold. Stop talking.
Hey,
Sold.
hey, like
You
I
ain't got to
said,
tell me on me.
I've already pre-ordered mine is coming next week, so,
Well,
Apple already
there
has
you
my
go.
phones.
That'll
Yes.
be that'll be just another tech talk for you to go over with. I don't pre-order anything anymore. I let products come out and then I go. As much as I love technology, we have both learned the hard way. New tech always has problems. Don't be the beta tester. Just wait a minute and get it as it comes out. But
Look, Apple
I
Apple did
understand.
Apple did announce a new product, so we gonna definitely get into the beta testers. So next thing they announced was the iPhone 17. This is the entry level, the cheapest thing that you can get for Apple. It comes with a bunch of word salad shit. Ceramic Shield 2, which is supposed to be 3 times better scratch resistant, which I'm like, how can you even quantify that? Whoa, chill
Sounds
out.
like horse shit to me.
It is. I'm just like, how would your average person even be able to tell? Anyway,
They can't.
yeah, they always boost about their recycled content. It's a 6.3 display action button, which whatever. It does come with an improved 48 megapixel camera, dual fusion. It's man,
See? See?
Apple with these little words,
With,
these
with them
little
cameras.
yeah,
Them
them
cameras, boy,
cameras.
they make sure that camera is something sexy.
Oh yeah,
I got
yeah.
one question. I
What's
got
up?
one question on it. Does it bring back the sexy blue from the iPhone 12?
Not Apple, not the iPhone 17. No, that is
I
exclusive
want
a pro phone. Which you're not
oh,
a
it's a Pro phone.
yeah. This is the entry level phone. This
Dang.
is like I said, the cheapest phone you can get. I know it does have a 3000 nit peak brightness in that. If you don't know, is if you're in the broad daylight and you look at your iPhone, you cannot see what the fuck is on it. And that's why they have this 3000 nit. This is across all phones anyway, period. Now, I'm just the one thing that is curious and I will question why did they bring this feature to this entry level phone is the promotion. So the 120 hertz refresh rate is on this entry level phone. I'm not sure why because you would think you would want all your exclusive pro things on your pro phone. I guess for people that is a entry level iPhone buyer, this is a super plus and win for you. It does proclaim to have an all day battery life. Not sure if that's factual or not, because I've never bought entry level. Not this is not the flex, but I've always either bought a pro or a pro max. So I'm not sure about the battery life or nothing. But yeah, this is the entry level iPhone 17 summary announcement.
I'm not
Going
trying to be that guy, but
here we go.
in
Here
a
we go.
technological age, why are you buying entry level of any?
Well, I think this
If
phone
it's not the best, then
I
just ask.
I just think this phone is marketed for parents with kids and children, and this is their starter phone. Older individuals who really just don't need all the extraness, and they just need a way to talk to their grandchildren. This is I think their clientele. The children, older people who are not really concerned about all this extraness that pros and maxes have. I think this is who buys this phone, and this is why Apple has this entry level phone. Moving on into a new product, and it's funny that you say beta testers. Apple iPhone Air. Now, I want to preference this before I even get into the features. I don't know who this phone is made for because they sacrifice so much for this thin. But to get into the features, it's a 6.5 display, XDR display, Retina. It has an N1 chip, a C1X chip, and all that is just a bunch of chips to try to fit as much content into this housing that they had to make chips to try to cover for taking out certain things to fit this housing.
This phone is for someone with too much fucking money just to say, "Hey, I bought this sleek, sexy phone that a good majority of the population probably can't afford, or are leveraging their mortgage to get."
Yeah, because I mean, I just feel like when you look at this product, it's a bunch of L's and no wins. Like the only win I can expect is that it probably feels amazing in your hand. Other than that, it's a bunch of L's. Like the camera is not as good as the Pro. You know, this a 2x telephoto. Like it's a bunch of L's. It claims to have an all day battery life, but I think that's a stretch. It has the Pro motion, it has the 120 hertz. Yeah, the center stage, okay. But like all this, everything that's listed here, you can get better on a iPhone Pro. Like I said, I'm not sure who this is marketed to. I'm not sure why this a thing. I think Apple was better off just scrapping this and focusing on the foldable phone that is supposed to come out next year. I'm not sure why they went out of their way to make this product. And maybe it'll sell great, but I just don't think it's going to do that well when you compare it to the Pro and the Pro Max and even the entry level. Like I just don't I'm not sure where this belongs in the marketplace in today with the other phones they announced. But that is the iPhone Air. Let me know in the comments if this is something you're gonna go out of your way to get, because I just feel like it's a bunch of L's. Like outside of the feel of the phone probably in your hand, the fact that when they made this announcement, they also announced a battery pack, the Apple battery pack that is made special for it. That's just an indication that baby, you're not gonna get a full day off the battery charge. Like,
They
and the
took
fact
away
that
they took
yeah,
it away to resell it to you.
yeah, and it's the fact that there's one speaker, it has a special charger that it has to take. Listen, this is an uphill fight to get this phone. I don't understand anybody that wants this phone, but if you do, definitely hit the comment section because I kind of need to know why. Just to have it because it's the first iteration, and like my cousin said, you're a beta tester because this is his first go around. And yeah, I haven't been a beta tester the iPhone X. And really that wasn't a beta test. That was a and one more thing announcement that was a major jump in phones at the time. Yeah, yeah, baby, this is the iPhone Air. On to the next. Event ended, of course, with its swing big product, which is the Pro and the Pro Maxes. Now, is the phone that does have the dark blue or the blue color, period. Because I only have blue phones. Not sound funny, but I have a blue phone now, and I wasn't gonna upgrade unless it had a blue color again. And I don't know why they keep taking away, bringing it back, taking away, but whatever. The colors for the Pro and Pro Max this year is the blue, this orange, which I will say it's very eye-catching. It does look nice. It does remind me of Halo of colors because it had the orange in the visor and the green everywhere else.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It does look sexy. It
Yeah, it does, but
does look sexy.
I'm still gonna get a blue phone. This has an improved battery life. In the last tech talk, I complained like Apple. I don't give a fuck about a thin housing. I rather get a thicker housing to have more battery room, which this new design and this whole camera design and in the event they kept saying the plateau, which man, it's just funny how Apple just use these. I bet they have a whole meeting about like way or what words can we use to oversell something that is very simple. Basically, the plateau is nothing but a extending camera housing hump. Because of this hump, they supposedly jam packed a lot of things in this new camera hump. So they did put in a larger battery in this iPhone, which is why you're gonna get a better and longer battery life. Another announcement was that is extended displays 6.9, because they trimmed the trimming bezels, center stage camera, the ceramic thing that's on all the iPhones. Now this camera, we got to get into it. It's a 48 megapixel Pro Fusion camera system. God, that is such a word salad crap.
That sounds just like shit thrown together just to sound.
Yeah, but that's one thing Apple's gonna do. They gonna do some things with the camera. And now that Apple is shooting movies with iPhones, and a lot of the B-roll was of movie shooting scenes. So they are really marketing an iPhone to be so powerful that you don't need that overpriced camera. You can shoot a movie with your fucking phone. And that's why you see the ProRes RAW, the Gen Lock, and all the camera features. They're very much that narrative that you can shoot a movie with your iPhone, which they did. I mean, that Apple movie with Brad Pitt, a lot of the scenes were, if not all of the scenes, were shot with an iPhone, and it was a very good shot movie. I thought it was very immaculate, but yeah, a lot of this is just a bunch of word salad, and the average user don't really have enough to upgrade if you bought just upgraded last year. Like I said, I have to upgrade this year because my battery life in my phone now it dropped below the 80%. The little battery health when you look at it. So yeah, I'm not getting battery throughout the day because my phone does die. So I was gonna upgrade regardless, but also it had to have the blue color, which it does. So it checked enough boxes for me to pre-order. And I do have this pre-order and I will be getting mine in the coming week. I'm not sure if this is enough for you to upgrade. And like you said in the last video, you had no plans to upgrade. Do you still feel that way? Does this change anything for you?
So this all sounds nice, and then at the same time, this all just sounds like some shit thrown together. Like I said,
Mhm.
the watch, I'm sold. You sold me on the watch, sold on that. But as far as the phone, like I said, I have a 14 Pro Max, and I think I got the 1 terabyte version, and I was like, I was pleased, but my whole thing with a lot of this stuff is like it's a phone. It's a phone. And it goes back to, not to get off topic, the guy who will buy 100 grand on a Mercedes, and the guy who will spend 50 grand on a Chevy. It's still an engine, transmission, and four wheels. It's gonna get you where you go.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? This is a cell phone. I do the bare basics of my cell phone. All this extra stuff, oh, that's nice to have. And here, maybe it's nice to have. It looks nice. Like I said, it's different, and it'll be a leap in technology. But like if I got this now, then the next time I will upgrade is probably the 20. But then now I'm thinking like I don't see the point in if it just does the same thing like everything else.
Yeah, like I
So
said,
I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'm a wait and see moment right now.
yeah, if you just especially if you just upgraded last year, this word salad of a Apple event is not enough to upgrade this year. Like I said, I have to upgrade because my battery life is below that 80%. So I'm not getting good battery life throughout the day and my phone is dying. And like I said, it had to be blue. Cause honestly, I was gonna have Apple just replace my phone because if you don't know, if you have an Apple product and the battery life, cause you can go in the settings, you can check your battery life and capability and capacity, whatever word it is. If it goes below 80%, Apple will replace it's some type of thing where you supposed to get so many years out of your and if it drops below the 80% in a certain amount of time, they will replace it. So if they didn't have the blue color color this year, I was just gonna have Apple replace and give me a whole new phone. But it has the blue clutter, so I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade, and I will definitely give my review on it once I have it in hand and have it for a while. But yeah, but this word salad is not enough stuff to upgrade. And honestly, a lot of people are holding out upgrading because they do believe the foldable iPhone is coming next year. And that's going to be a leap and probably, be enough.
Oh yeah, that there we go. That's what I forgot to go with. The foldable phone. That's what I want.
Yeah,
So we
that
can
that
get the watch
is
and I can hold out and we'll wait and see.
Yeah, that is expected to come next year. And we talked, we have a group chat and I was talking to our friend and I was like, yeah, I said this iPhone Air, they could have just scrapped that and focused and poured more resources into the foldable phone and had the foldable phone come out this year. But Apple has this 5-year development plan where, they release stuff and just enough to keep the train moving. And so it was set always designed to have the foldable phone come out next year. And if it actually comes, I'm sure it's gonna be a long list of clientele for them. But I am, like I said in the last TikTok tech talk, I am not a foldable phone guy. It's not for me. I'm not the target audience for it. I don't need my phone to fold. That can be something you can
I
probably get
want
in
it.
hand and
I
you can
want it all the
review.
way.
Yeah, you can give your review because you are the target audience, I guess. But like I said, if I'm not watching a lot of content on my phone. I have an oversized iPhone already, and it's called the fucking iPad. Because if anybody who has an iPad knows, it's just an oversized fucking iPhone, and I know it has a software update, and people probably gonna get in the comments like it's more closer to a computer than it's ever been. Baby, it should have always been that. It should have always been that 10 years ago. Like it's an oversized iPhone, and that's why I don't upgrade my iPad. You asked me today, did I get the last upgrade? And I said no because listen, only reason why my iPad is getting used is because I watch YouTube on it and because I read my manga on it. Other than that, I don't use iPad. And like I said, when I'm watching a YouTube video, it's on an iPad because it's a bigger screen. It's just, a better product for me to watch videos and replay content. And I don't do editing and all that other stuff on my iPad. I have a MacBook for that. That's more powerful and more, can keep up with the task that I'm doing in Final Cut Pro and all of the video and production that we're doing for the channel. But yeah, that is the iPhone Pro, and this was the last product in the Apple event. Like I said, my feedback on the Apple event, it was underwhelming. Do you have any thoughts about the product and all the announcements that were made that you haven't already shared?
I wonder what that phone gonna look like, baby.
Mm.
I can see myself just taking it out like, oh wait, 1 second, 1 second. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is my mini tablet. That's not my tablet.
Oh
But
my
no,
god.
all seriousness, I mean, Apple, it's the same shit every year. Just
Yeah, it is crazy because the Apple event and the Nintendo Direct were in the same week. One was on a Tuesday, one was on a Friday. And to me, they were both snooze fest. Like, our friend was texting me while the event was going live, the Apple event. I waited till 20 minutes after it started so I could fast forward through the bullshit. And I caught myself fast forwarding most of the content. Like, I sat there and watched most of it just so I can give the update in the tech talk, but it was very underwhelming. And let me know in the comments what you thought of the event, if you liked it, if you're upgrading any of the products announced, and especially if you're buying the iPhone Air. I just need answers on why you're buying that. Cause I just don't you can just get the Pro. Like, and it'd be a better product for the money. Like, I think it's only $100 difference from the entry iPhone Air and the Pro, it's only $100 difference. So I was just
Only a $100.
I'm just saying, for all the features and a better battery life and not needing a external battery on your phone, just spend the $100 because you're gonna spend all that in charging in the external battery that Apple is trying to sell you with the iPhone. Yeah, just spend the extra $100 up front, I guess. That is the Apple event. The rest of the content that we have is the fact that a lot of people made note that the iPhone 17 Pro Max, this is the most on par with a Galaxy phone that has ever been. Now the only noticeable difference between the phones, right now is that the fact that the Galaxy 25 has a 200 megapixel wide camera while iPhone has this 48 megapixel fusion camera, whatever the fuck you want to say that is. I guess in phone capacity, camera capacity, the Galaxy still tops the iPhone. But I will say, the iPhone Pro Max is $100 cheaper. It does come with 2 terabyte storage capacity, where the Galaxy has a 1 terabyte max capacity. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is not if you're a Galaxy user, this is not enough probably to get an iPhone, and if you're an iPhone user, it's not enough to make you switch. You're not switching in 2025. At least I don't think. Like, I've had an iPhone for a very long time, and I haven't went back to Android phone, and I probably won't, honestly, because I'm just so embedded into the ecosystem. So if you're on either side, you're probably gonna stay. It's not enough to switch, but I guess this is the most comparable they've been ever. Maybe. I mean,
Said forever.
yeah, like,
I talk about switching all the time, but I know good and
you
well
ain't
I'm too deep.
switching. Such a bunch
I'm
of
too deep.
bullshit. Yeah, you
I'm not
ain't.
going nowhere.
And let me tell you right now, if your bubble goes from blue to green, fuck you.
Now, see,
Yeah,
you one of those people.
no,
Are the
I'm just
problem?
saying, I'm not one of those people because I do have a lot of people I text that has a green bubble. But I'm just saying, if you willingly go from blue to green, I'm going to judge you. What are we doing? What are you doing? Like, it's just not enough to switch and cross over, especially because if you got an iPhone, that you probably got an iPad, you probably got an Apple Watch, you probably got AirPods, like, and using an Android, not saying you can't, it's just you're not gonna get the all the capabilities out of the Apple product on an Android product. So yeah, this is just a comparison, and these are just some funny tweets, or I don't even know what you call X tweets now, but it's just funny watching the Samsung account talk shit about the Apple event. Some of these screenshots were just actually right after the Apple event ended, and where it said it was a snooze fest and a lot of stuff that it was announced that it's already been done already by Samsung. But it's just funny. And listen, if you don't know, this is all tongue in cheek. Samsung's income and revenue, they make a lot off Apple because Samsung builds Apple's displays. Like, if you have a phone, that display was made by Samsung. I don't not maybe not everybody knows that, but all this is just tongue in cheek. It's all in fun, and it's just trying to boost the quote unquote battle or a phone battle or whatever phone wars you want to make up. It's just boosted hype that is not even real, but it's not enough probably to jump over to a Samsung if you have an iPhone. And if you got a Samsung, I'm sure you have a Samsung for a reason because you don't like iPhone. So these were just some funny tweets, or I don't even know, what do you call tweets now in 2025 when it's X?
I still say tweets.
I mean,
I
yeah,
will
but
not say.
is that correct? Are they still like are they Xers? Like,
So
what
a
are
lot of
they?
people will say. A lot of people will say X, formerly known as Twitter, and just keep going with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that wraps up the Apple event. Like I said, it was a snooze fest. The Nintendo Direct was a snooze fest, but that is all the latest news as of this week, as recording on a Saturday of September 13th. Do you got anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I wonder what that fold do.
Listen, the fold is coming this time next year.
And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, are you not entertained?